The queen is here, Reyna. All
Promote ka na ba?
right.
Ha? Nakikinig ka. Aakyat ka ba? Alrighty.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good evening in the United States. Welcome to day two. All right, we can see all of our speakers for the plenary speakers for today. These are the young ones. Yay! The future of the organization, and it looks great, including our plenary speaker moderator. All right, so welcome to day two. Let's start formally by doing our national anthem and our PASA introductions. And so let me go to my other screen. Okay, so let's start with the national anthem.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang maging silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit ang bagaw, ay hinatang tulang awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iingin, ang bituin at araw niya kailan ang ay di matitigil. Luman ang araw ng warhabing pagsinta, huwag langit sa piling mo. Ang hinigaya na pagkay mga amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Okay. Thank you very much. So welcome to day two. Yesterday we had a very nice opening session with a keynote talk from President Jimenez of the University of the Philippines in Diliman, and was followed by a very nice plenary lecture that covered health and sciences, education, and shaping the future of education in the Philippines, as well as the role of AI in education. So today we're going to start our plenary session by three of our young, I say the young cowboys of tomorrow for PAASE. They will lead us in the future because they really are shaping the future of the next generation of scientists. And so today we have three plenary speakers, and our moderator, who you met last night, is Dr. Elmer Mojica from Pace University in New York City. So without further ado, I'm going to turn over the table to Elmer. Take it
Okay,
away.
okay. Thank you, Marge. So good morning from the Philippines. So I'm right now I'm a Balik scientist here at the Institute of Chemistry, UP Los Baños, and good evening to those joining us from the United States and other parts of the world. So welcome to the online REC Symposium plenary session of the 2025 APAMS. So I'm Elmer Rico Mojica, Professor of Chemistry and Associate Director of the Forensic Science Program at Pace University in New York, and I'm honored to serve you as your moderator of the session titled Mentoring the Future under the Rising Mentor Program. So in this session, you'll hear from individuals who are transforming what mentorship looks like through community-based networks, cultural understanding, and science-driven leadership. So these efforts remind us that mentorship isn't just an academic task, it's a human connection that shapes careers, identities, and futures. Now, for our first speaker, we have Dr. Max Argilia. He is an assistant professor in the Department of Chemistry at the University of California, Irvine, UC Irvine. So he's a Quezon City native. He earned his PhD from the Ohio State University and completed postdoctoral training at MIT before joining UC Irvine in 2020. Now, Dr. Argilia leads the Max Lab, where his team pioneers the synthesis of atom-thin, one-dimensional inorganic materials nicknamed molecular pasta, with potential applications in quantum devices and nanoscale electronics. He also co-founded GradMap Philippines, serving as its deputy chair, and actively mentors Filipino graduate students in STEM. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Max Argilio, who's going to talk about GradMap Philippines.
Thank you very much, Elmer. And let me start sharing my screen. Share screen. There we go. Can everyone see my presentation?
Yes.
All good? Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Elmer, for that nice introduction. And in a little bit, I'll actually use that introduction to talk a little bit about, the main vision of this GradMap program. So I'm speaking today on behalf of the advisory board, the advisory board chair, Professor Herdline Ardoña, and the rest of the advisory board, as well as the hundreds of volunteers, graduate students, postdocs, and our faculty network for GradMap. So today I will tell you the story about how we built or co-built this thriving international graduate mentorship network from a perspective of an academic. So some of you might have seen this talk or a version of this talk from the perspective of the mentors and graduate students or postdocs in GradMap. But I will talk a little bit about how we see it from the other side as well, so that you can get a full view of what we think about in this program. So as Elmer mentioned, I did my undergraduate education in the Philippines, working with the late Professor Leon Villawan Jr., and then I went to the Ohio State for my graduate education, and then to MIT for my postdocs. I'll just gloss over this introduction. But now I'm currently an assistant professor at UC Irvine, leading a solid state materials and quantum materials group, really thinking about how we can develop materials that approach the atomic scale for current and future next generation integrated circuits, quantum transport, and sensing as well. So I'm prefacing this talk to basically show, how we can explore new directions and new disciplines in chemistry or in STEM, by going to overseas to pursue graduate education. So back in the day, solid state chemistry and materials chemistry during my time hasn't been as much developed in the Philippines. So that was sort of the main motivation for me. However, the problem was that after undergraduate education, there really weren't that many resources for undergraduate students to even consider and think about pursuing graduate education abroad. And it's not impossible, but there's just no resource. So looking back, I think a mentorship program would have been very helpful during that time because we were really shooting in the dark back in the days and really just, doing our own legwork, learning about different programs, different universities, and so on. So with that, and using that as a preface for this presentation, you will see in a little bit how we were able to bring together a lot of volunteers for our network because it was easy to convince many of our mentors in the program because they've been through the same process of just having this challenging experience in pursuing graduate studies abroad in disciplines that were not readily accessible back in the Philippines. So since its in conception in 2020, I served as a mentor. I became part of the advisory board in 2022 when the board started, and currently I serve as the deputy chair of the board. So let me now talk about our community story. So as many of you in this call or in this session is probably already familiar with, there is a growing and rapidly growing awareness and interest in STEM in the Philippines. And this is backed by several data. For example, we have an immense talent pool. At least in the 2023 survey, 20% of our high school students surveyed have pursued undergraduate level STEM degrees or STEM adjacent degrees in the millions and counting. There is also a grassroots awareness now in the Philippines in the viability of STEM-based career paths, thanks to Pinoy scientists, which will be covered today as well, where there is just an immense number of following in social media and just awareness and also representation across various disciplines in STEM in various different fields. So there is really this push towards thinking about STEM-based career paths as really one of those viable career paths that our next generation can pursue. And of course, Filipino science is going global, right? There is a lot of research progress in the past decade or so that has just rapidly accelerated, going regional, going global. And so we thought, you will start with this motivation to really make a case for, Filipino science and Filipino STEM in general. However, when we start thinking about the context of these efforts and looking at our neighboring countries in Southeast Asia, still there is a lot of work to be done, right? Like in a recent survey, at least the latest survey that we were able to access when preparing this talk, there is still a room for improvement to involve many Filipinos in active research in STEM. And that's where we started thinking about how we can ride this upwards trajectory of improving Filipino science by opening new opportunities for our graduates or for our undergraduate students to pursue graduate students abroad, especially in disciplines that are emergent and have developed in other countries first, like as you have heard, like biotech, AI, machine learning, quantum information sciences, quantum materials, and modern sustainability and energy transformative energy research in the systems level. So those are all these new directions and opportunities that our students can access, especially in pursuing a graduate education abroad. And many, as actually personally, I've seen many of the students who have gone on to pursue graduate students outside of the Philippines have gone back and have started, vibrant research programs in these modern fields. So the science is growing. There is room for improvement, and I'm putting, this recent Nature Index for the Philippines in terms of article publication and count, and it has grown since 2021. But there is still room for improvement. For example, comparing it to Singapore, who's leading the Southeast Asian science these days. However, also, it's not quite, yeah, as I mentioned earlier, it's not that straightforward to pursue graduate students abroad. So this is a recent survey, or the most current survey that we were able to find as well, that there's not that many Filipino U.S. graduate students in the U.S. And of course, this number has grown recently, but this is really just putting it alongside our neighboring countries in Southeast Asia, and specifically using the statistics for U.S. for the purpose of PAS. Because there is limited access to a robust STEM network, there's not that many role models. It's growing, but still, I think there is a lot of room for improvement. And there's really no direct mechanism to support and guide many of our undergraduate students to pursue graduate students abroad. There's also this limited information of institutional knowledge because pursuing graduate school in STEM is not really one of those typical career paths that many of our students are aware of. So there's a lack of knowledge in degree options, whether they have to math before they pursue a PhD, funding do they have to that they have to also cover in a little. There is a standard and so on materials and paying application fees for, and also the travel and settling costs. So a lot of these put together feels as if there is a mountain to be crossed. Are about the vision of GradMap, which is really to build a global community for Filipino scientist mentors to guide our next generation of students to pursue the directions that they are quite interested with. And this vision was really created by, or was really penned by the visionary team of graduate students at that time, Carlo, AU, Weaverly, and Luis, who really recognized that gap and that need for mentorship program in the US because they also have experienced the same challenges that many of us have experienced in applying to graduate school. And also, that was a really good timing because this started, as you have noticed, during the COVID time, where see now we can converse with each other via Zoom. That was one of the key enabling factors of building this global mentorship network because the connectivity has gotten a lot better. And also, as I mentioned earlier, it was very easy to convince a lot of Filipino scientists and engineers to pay it forward and to serve in the mentorship program. That was almost effortless for GradMap to recruit so many mentors who are willing to help the next generation of Filipino scientists. And with that, they're really, we have sort of this three-pronged mission in the program, which is to increase the awareness of advanced educational degrees, again, as a viable career path, for Filipinos pursuing STEM, and really provide this mentorship network and support, which is not only for graduate school applications, but also in terms of a career path. When students have their decision making in terms of pursuing what careers they would pursue after undergraduate education. And also we took it as an opportunity to build a global community that facilitates collaboration and mentorship between faculty, postdocs, graduate students, and undergraduates. And it's really just a nice community that brings together Filipino science various countries. Since then, we've thought about this volunteer program. This simple. We recruit volunteers, graduate students, faculty, postdocs, and match them with undergraduate Filipino students in the Philippines looking into pursuing STEM-based careers outside of the Philippines through a 6-month intensive in North America, Asia, Europe, and Oceania. And this is one of the more recent count of our mentors across the globe. And for the first 3 cycles, we were able to bring together 300 Filipino scientists and engineers based on coming from 30 different countries who are all volunteers pro bono as mentors in our program. And the main goal really is to help a lot of our students put together as best as it can get a competitive application packet for graduate school programs. So that's the initial goal, is to make sure that they put together the right set of letter writers writing compelling cover letters, CVs, personal statements, and so on, but also to guide our mentees in in possible career paths, whether they have to pursue masters, graduate school, which program, and how to do it. And just to give you an idea, we typically recruit mentors in May and July, mentees in July and August, and then we partner mentors and mentees. And from August to the February of the next year, that's where our actual intensive mentorship program happens. And then we debrief by the end of the March in the next year. We can do this because we have a broad range, a scientific diversity of our mentors coming from various STEM fields. The font is small. It was not meant for you to read, but just to demonstrate that we have representation from various disciplines in STEM and also in various countries in the world. Our organization comes from a graduate, student, and postdoc-led leadership with president, vice president, and directors of several groups such as resources, standards, events, engagement, and external partnerships. And in 2020, Dix and I, Professor Adonia and I, suggested that we build together an advisory board because many of these mission program are run by members and to recruit the board and also faculty. Also, we're able to build a robust and broad faculty network that can give input and improve the program, sitting in input in terms of really crafting that ideal packet. So through the years, we were able to place a lot of our mentees in various top institutions in the world. And we actually have a pretty good success rate, about 80% admitted, and 90% of which were able to secure offers. And this program evolves and it grows. So we were able to develop a mentor message, able to build mentor per mentee team that will have synergistic expertise and knowledge and know-how to increase the and also we were able to build an explorers track, which enabled us to also expose a lot of our students who weren't sure whether they're going to pursue a STEM-based graduate degree. So they were able to join in the program without commitment and really to just explore various opportunities that they can get, and mainly an educational experience for many of our mentees. And then we were also able to build this pod system, which is very regional and field-based, a lot of social activities for our mentor. Opportunity really to be able to talk about this because there is a high and continuously rising cost of graduate school application across various places in the world. And so we were able to partner with academies and foundations to establish a grant that will cover parts of the graduate school application fee. And big thanks to PAASE for really helping us build this grant program since 2022. We were able to also co-partner with the Gokongwei Brothers Foundation in 2023, and we award $500 per awardee per cycle to help with their application fees, because that is really one of the big barriers in applying to graduate school abroad. And also shout out to Professor Mike Puruganan, who really introduced GradMap to these organizations. So, for example, very recently we concluded this program or this grant program. We were able to award 12 awardees from various universities in the Philippines, from various STEM degrees, and about 60 to 70% of our awardees were able to secure admissions from various institutions outside the Philippines. And also this is thanks to a lot of our private donors, from board members who donated and the faculty network to increase the number of the awards that we can make. And I'll show this quote that from one of our awardees, really just emphasizing the impact of this award and grant program that we were able to give to our awardees so that they can really focus on putting together that best application. So I'll also show this slide just to show, like if you are interested in donating and in expanding this grant program that we are running in GradMaps. Beyond the mentorship program, we also have a lot of social media presence to involve our mentors and mentees. There's a lot of free resources. So for the students here in this call, feel free to check out our website. There's a lot of free content there in CV writing, putting together your application packet. You can share it to your students for the faculty in the call. And there's a lot of free events, workshops that GradMap hosts in the hopes of really increasing the coverage in the Philippines. We also elevate our mentors and highlight them in many possible ways because they're really the bloodline of this graduate mentorship program. And to conclude, really, we are building this global STEM community. We are establishing a lot of these collaborations with DOST, with PAAS, and various organizations to really open up the network for Filipino science across various countries and continents. And we're opening doors and opportunities for the next generation in STEM. There's plenty of room for improvements, really expansion towards various disciplines and fields so that we can gather as many mentors and match them with mentees interested in, especially in emergent fields in STEM. Fundraising to increase, really to cover the growing cost of applying to graduate school abroad and really to also even hopefully include travel grants when they officially get admitted. And also the reach in many institutions in the Philippines, from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And that's been really one of the challenges right now, even if we have this strong presence in social media. And of course, the sustainability of the program. So, if you're a team, if you want to join our program as a mentee, as a mentor, as a faculty network member. Maraming salamat, and I'll be happy to answer questions in a little bit during the Q&A.
Okay, thank you very much, Max, for that insightful talk. Now thank you very much, Max, for that insightful talk. We'll hold up on questions for now and reserve them until all three speakers have completed their presentations. But you can type questions ahead of time. Okay, up next, we have Dr. Reynabel Reyes. She's a distinguished Filipina astrophysicist currently serving as the director of the Space Science Missions Bureau at the Philippines Space Agency. So before joining PILSA in January 2025, she was an associate professor at UP Diliman's National Institute of Physics and led the Data and Computation Research Group focused on data-driven astrophysics, cosmology, and machine learning. Dr. Reyes holds a PhD in astrophysics from Princeton University and has been the public face of science in the Philippines, co-founding the Pinoy Scientist platform and hosting the Knowledge Science TV series Science Says. Her leadership reflects a strong commitment to using space science for education, outreach, and national development. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Reynabel Reyes, who will talk about Pinoy Scientists.
Thank you so much for that very kind introduction, Dr. Elmer. I hope you can see my slides. I'll just, yeah. So thank you so much to PAAS and all the organizers for this opportunity to share about Pinoy scientists. And thank you, Doc Max, our partners and friends at GradMap for the shout out earlier. And we'll take this opportunity to share more about our own project and how we use it to promote advocacy and mentorship. So Pinoy Scientists is a platform for spotlighting Filipino, Filipina, and all genders of scientists, one post at a time. So the way it works is that every week a guest scientist takes over the page, our pages in Facebook and Instagram, and they have that online platform with and an audience to share about their own stories, their own journeys, and their advocacies, and to connect directly with the aspiring young scientists who are online social media, and then to develop mentorship and networking, professional networking connections through this platform and community that we are building. So, a bit about our origin story. Kanina nag-share si Doc Max nung origin story ng grad map. In my case, it was, I would say that this is a project born out of homesickness. My own personal one back in 2012 when I was a postdoc at the University of Chicago with very cold winters. And it started out very humbly as a Tumblr blog. If you still remember, baka yung iba hindi na nila naabutan yung Tumblr, but it was like a single serving Tumblr. Then there was just a post about for a scientist. So, and then I reached out to friends and asked them to answer this short questionnaire. What do you do? What do you enjoy at work and at play? Some photos. And the idea was to actually just to share, because I know all these amazing people and the amazing work they do. But yun nga, as things have changed since then, but we still have a lot of room to grow in bringing these stories and this consciousness of how awesome science is, and that this is something that Filipinos can actually pursue as a career, graduate studies with the right help, support, and mentoring. So it was born out of that. So the tagline, which was the original tagline, was "Yes, we exist. Get to know us." And we have kept it all through these years as it developed with partners, as the team grew. We now have these platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and we've also launched a newsletter that on Substack that you can subscribe to, featuring the scientists that are featured in the page, and also other relevant stories for the community. So now up to 80,000 followers and growing. So if you're not following yet, please check us out and follow us if you like the content, and also on Instagram. More than 12,000 followers at the moment. So we're very proud, and we hope to continue to bring these stories to the Filipino and global audience towards our aims of inspiring by introducing proudly Filipino role models showcasing their lives to the world and to the whole universe. And then also fostering connections between the contributing scientists themselves, forming a community, and also between the scientists and the broader public, especially the young aspiring Filipino students and educators. And finally, it's a platform for sharing, and in particular, it's a safe and ready venue for our scientists to practice or to practice their science communication skills, because as we all know, this is also something that we can all improve on. And in addition to their own platforms, this is a way for them to connect to a larger network and bring them into their network, and also hone their skills in communicating to a broad audience, and especially to young students. Right. So to make it easier for our scientists to take over, and also for everyone to have something to look forward to every day and learn something new every day, we have daily themes with hashtags. So we start the week with an introduction to the scientist taking over the week. And then we have hashtag Motivation Monday, what gets you up in the morning, excited to go to the lab and look through the telescope and look at your samples, for example. And then they can share even specific more detail about their thesis, about their research, about the techniques that they use in their work, and even their travels. As we know, travel is part of scientists' life, career, because this is how we do field work and also connect with others through conferences like this. now we're online, but I would have hoped to also attend in person, but maybe another time. So that hashtag Thesis Tuesday. And then hashtag Wisdom Wednesday, what they've learned. There's also some mentorship aspect here. For example, we have a viral post where a scientist shared about their CV of failures, noting that usually we just share about our successes, we got accepted, we got published, but what people don't see, especially in the milieu of social media these days, is that the hard work and all the rejections that happened before that. So he took that opportunity to share his own rejection letters, but and then finally the success. And so that actually resonated with a lot of the community, the other scientists, and also good insight and lesson for mentorship, lesson for the younger followers as well. Hashtag Throwback Thursday, and then hashtag Thank God It's Friday, and hashtag Science Saturday. So just with this guidance, the scientist has a lot of leeway and broad strokes to paint a picture of their life and their career and their passion and advocacies through this post. And they can post many times a day. We just asked to post at least once a day to keep that rhythm going. And recently, we've introduced and we're starting to promote group takeovers, especially to encourage Filipino scientists and researchers, especially the younger ones, who may not be comfortable or as comfortable to do a solo takeover. So we also encourage that if you want to, if you're interested in doing that as a group with your PI's blessing, or if you are the PI yourself, you can feature your group and then have posts, collaborate on the post that you would like to share about your group and about the individual researchers. So there's a lot of leeway here, and other ideas were actually also very open. But so far, so good. You can actually see all the past contributors. Some of them have put very interesting photos and videos. In a way, parang na rin, di ba, parang a peek into the science behind that we actually don't know about, especially because these are very specialized fields and we're in different fields. So it's also like a science documentary in that case, in that sense. So for example, one of our most viral or popular posts, most shared and viewed, is this video, simple video, short video of a parasite of a scientist, one of our scientist contributors, RJ Millenia, who's an entomologist and who's taking a PhD in comparative biology. Who took up a PhD in comparative biology and teaching now. So let me just play that again. So this is a wasp, and parasite is being carefully extracted by RJ as part of her studies about this parasite. There you go. Yeah, and we've also, because for one of the things we've done, so from Tumblr to Facebook to Instagram, to the website, with the help of our tech lead, Gerson, who's in the audience, put together this wonderful website which has a database of the contributing scientists and for people looking for possible mentors, possible connections, collaborators, role models, or just if you're going to a country and you want to see if you can meet up with someone there, you can browse it by country, by field, by institution, and you can find good people who would be also willing to hopefully willing to entertain your you're reaching out. I featured here Herdeline Diggs Ardonia, who is the colleague of Doc Max in GradMap. Actually, we've had several scientists and mentors from GradMap take over the page. Doc Max, you're very welcome anytime. So you can see her posting here about GradMap and sharing it also through Pinoy scientists as part of her advocacies. Okay. In addition to our regular platform, we also organize events for our community. So our first one was actually online, coming out of the pandemic. It was, we called it Pathways to Science, a 2-part panel discussion featuring diverse paths of Pinoy scientists. And there were 2 panels. The first one, which I moderated, is for the more quote-unquote traditional path of academic research. And we had Doc Chona, biologist, Doc Aimee, an entomologist, and Doc Jerome, an astrophysicist like me, and had a fruitful discussion. And then a second panel discussion moderated by Cami Navarro, my co-founder, which featured the less traveled alternative paths in STEM. So these are outside the academic path, but all very interesting and fulfilling careers, which may not be as known or considered. So we have Matthew Go, who's a forensic anthropologist, Tara Abrinas, who is an economist and policy researcher, and Isa Domingo is actually an artist and illustrator for the National Museum. So these are actually available also online for those who are interested. And last year, we had a partnership with PAASE to organize a fireside chat on building Filipino-centered science communities, which I moderated, and which included Cami representing Pinoy scientists, Jade Castro representing Ideal Materials PH, Bea Tulagan representing T50.org on climate action, and Jelaine Gan of the UP Wild. So check them out. So many people doing good work in this area. And later last year, we were very happy that we had our first face-to-face meet-up for the Pinoy Scientist Anniversary and Meet Networking event in November. It was actually originally scheduled in October, but we had to reschedule it because of a typhoon. So many of the people who originally registered were not able to attend, unfortunately, but we still had a good, fun and productive meeting. Everyone got to know everyone. We had talks, we had games, and we plan to do it again this year, and also start building we're starting to set up, and we look forward to launching this year our Pinoy Scientists Community Facebook group for another platform that's more internal or more community-based for our contributors and for eventually the broader community. So also at this event, we launched the Pinoy Scientist Coalition, which is our partnership with We Solve Foundation to organize and address barriers to doing good science in the Philippines. So we know all of these scientists are doing great work abroad and also in the country, but we all know the challenges, especially facing the scientists doing work in the Philippines. And we hope to bring together people who are interested in influencing this, of course, with the help of our partners from PAASE and other groups, to support scientists throughout their careers, improve ease of doing research, improve access to funding and support for local research and scholarships, creating safe spaces for science, especially for young scientists, women and queer S&T professionals, strengthening policies and increasing investments to support public scientists in our public scientific institutions, especially those dealing with disasters and and important social responsibilities. And finally, increasing the representation and participation of scientists in policymaking, in the policymaking process and in public discourse. And we're just starting, but we're happy that we have early support, some including from the Gratitude Fund. And this is their feature of the coalition, emphasizing that for scientists and researchers to contribute to improving lives and building the future of the country, we also have to address the many barriers to doing the good science here. And our organization was formed to build the power of scientists and network with allies to create a research environment where we can flourish and do our best work. And this is ultimately to improve lives, to advance science, improve lives, and to build a better Philippines. So if this is something that interests you, that makes your blood in a good way, that makes that activates your passion and your adrenaline in a good way, please reach out to us. We're looking for people to help us jumpstart this and take this to the next level with the base that we have already established. And all of this is possible thanks to our amazing team. We have our core team. I've mentioned Cami's our managing director for communications, and Feliz Padillo, our newly promoted managing director for operations and events, also here with us today. And that's also a testament to good mentorship. Thanks, Anne, for trusting us. And Hilary Dayan Andales are also a new addition to the team, an astrophysicist who is our managing director for the Pinoy Scientist Meetup and the community that we are building online and in person. And of course, Gerson Lakda, who is our managing director for technology, and an amazing team of very young interns from STEM courses and also very early career scientists and researchers in their own right make all this possible. And we'll end by thanking our partners for their support throughout the years and making all this possible. So the USTP Shared, British Council System, PhilSA, who I've now joined, and of course PAASE, WISO Foundation, the Gratitude Fund, and most recently Grit Labs of UP and CIPAG for research fellowship grant that we have procured to pursue these teams. So that's it from me. Looking forward to the discussion and questions later. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Reina. So once again, feel free to type your question in the chat. We'll address them after our final speaker has finished her presentation. So next, it's my privilege to introduce Dr. Melissa Palma, a clinical assistant professor of family medicine at Brown University. She is a first-generation Filipino-American from Iowa who pursued degrees in biochemistry and medicines at the University of Iowa, followed by a master in public health from Northwestern University. She trained in family and preventive medicine at Cook County Health and now combines clinical work with health equity advocacy, particularly focused on immigrant and underserved communities. So Dr. Palma co-founded the Council of Young Philippines Americans in Medicine, CYFAM, and served as a medical advisor to TayoHealth.com, a culturally tailored COVID-19 resource for Filipino communities. So her work explores innovative methods for culturally responsive public health interventions. And we're honored to have her to share how CYFAM bridges gaps in mentorship through cultural understanding. So take it away, Dr. Palma.
All right, thank you. Maraming salamat po for having me here representing CFAM, Council of Young Filipinx Americans in Medicine. So let me just go ahead and share my screen and place the slideshow up for you all. All right, thank you for having me back at PAASE at the APAMS. It was great to be with all of you back in Florida in 2023. I'm excited again to be here in 2025. So again, my name is Isa Palma, and I am currently one of the Executive Physician Committee members of the Council of Young Filipinx Americans in Medicine, or CFAM. We were founded in 2019. Really to be a national network for Filipino physicians or physicians in training. The valor and hardworkingness of the Filipino nurse is of wide renown throughout the world, but not too much is known about the pathways for Filipino doctors in the United States. I was fortunate enough to have two parents who are graduates from UP Med and are very active in the UMASA Medical Alumni Society. And so I was exposed to many Pinoy doctors of many stripes, both in the Philippines and the United States, but many first and second generation Filipino Americans do not have this privilege. And so CFAM was created in order to foster a space that welcomes all who share its mission. Since we were founded in 2019 by Dr. Antonio Moya and Dr. Angelico Ico Rason, we've had over almost 600 students come through over the past 5 years, and it's been really great to see people be able to engage with our programming, which includes mentorship workshops, cultural and medical education workshops, as well as our annual research symposium at our national conference. And we always want to ask, why are we doing what we're doing? This is a graph from the Association of American Medical Colleges. And even though Filipinos make up over 20% of the entire US Asian population, about 4 million Filipinos live in the United States. Filipinos only make up about 4.3% of all Asian US medical school applicants. And this is actually at rates lower than our African American and Latino peers in some cases. And so for a lot of Filipinos, we want to know, why is this number so low when there are so many of us in healthcare in the United States and so many of us here living? What are the barriers for this? We're trying to create a Si Familia, a family for where people can have networking opportunities, as well as being able to celebrate Filipino culture in a way that resonates with them. Maybe if they have, depending on whether they grew up in California, where there are many Filipinos, or if like me, where they grew up in Iowa and I only knew my parents' friends growing up. We want to make sure that people feel both welcome and included, and really feel that the CFAM is a kapamilya that we can all share with each other. So when we take a look at who is a member of CFAM, the Council of Young Filipinx Americans in Medicine, we have had attendees as young as high school, all the way up to attendings. So at every level of the development matrix, there's a chance for people to be involved. We believe in our mentorship model is one of near-peer mentorship, as well as creating familias with both attendings, resident fellows, medical students, pre-medical students, and high school students. Because knowing if you had someone like me who graduated from medical school 10 years ago, who applied to medical school 15 years ago, the application game has changed. Whether or not we have and whether we have near peers, people who are closer to the application process of each stage, whether it be high school to undergraduate, undergraduate to medical school to residency and attending levels. We have levels for everyone to be able to join and connect with our resources. Here's just a snapshot of some of our current leadership. Many folks who have been involved for the past 5 years. Several of our people on our also Board of Governors for the 2024-2025 years are actually former CFAM students who are now have come through our pipeline from undergraduate, from medical school, and now are in residency and medical school themselves. So it's been great over the past 4 to 5 years to see our bunsos be able to graduate and the new bunsos come in as well. Again, just highlighting the different areas where CFAM holds programming. We have a director of cultural committee, development committee, which works on our grant writing. We have a strong mentorship committee, both for US graduates as well as an international medical graduate committee, focusing specifically on the barriers and challenges for Filipinos who have graduated outside of the United States for their medical school. We have a director of community engagement as well as research and education. And all of our members, you can see our original founders, Dr. Moya, Dr. Rason, and many of our original members, Dr. Win Kun, as well as our students, still going strong with the organization as we grow, continue to grow and learn. The biggest annual event for the CFAM conference, as another organization that was founded during the pandemic years, is our annual conference. Our first two conferences were online. The first, and then the next one was in San Francisco, as well as Los Angeles. This year in 2025, back in February, we were able to celebrate our first East Coast conference in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at the Jefferson School of Medicine. And so there we were able to host clinical workshops for suturing, led by some of our expert emergency physicians, as well as a research poster symposium for many of our undergraduate students as well. And I know we're talking to the scientists here, so we have a little bit of valuations data for you. This is from the 2025 conference. It was our first East Coast conference, so again, engaging in a region of the country where our founding members were mostly in California. And so for the East Coast conference, we were able to have over 76% first-time attendees, and about 16% of folks had come to more than one previous conference. So even amongst the people who attended, many people were finding out about us for the first time, but for the folks who had remained, they are still wanting to come back to our programming. When we look again at the distribution of who is attending our conference, most of them, the largest number is undergraduate and post-baccalaureate students who are trying to apply to med school, plus 21% other professional school students. In the United States, it's very common for students to get additional master's degrees or other professional degrees as they're applying through the medical school cycle. And then again, about 20% community members, and then another 15% were attending physicians. And so we were really happy to see, a very broad swath of our target population attend our in-person conference. Again, similar to the GradMap program and to the PNOI Scientist program, we have a broad range of medical specialties represented by our mentors and attendees at the conference, ranging from anesthesiology, emergency medicine, family medicine, infectious disease, OBGYN, neurology, pediatrics, and many more. What was interesting to us was really learning how folks found out about our conference, as well as how people who found out about CFAM in general. For the most part, if you had asked me, someone who follows the CFAM social media very closely, I would have thought it would have been our social media presence, which has been where we post very frequently on Instagram and on Twitter, as well as a little bit on TikTok. I would have thought that the social media would have been the strongest driver, but it's actually word of mouth. Referrals through families or colleagues is how people find out about CFAM most often, then social media, and then other referrals to community organizations. Because we are also a national organization, many of our members are also active in their Filipino community organizations, both on the West Coast, the East Coast, the Midwest, and in the South. And so we've partnered with several other organizations like SIPA, Search to Involve Filipino Americans in Los Angeles, the University of California, San Francisco PRIME program, a program for the urban underserved, as well as the Filipino Young Leaders program, which are community organizations who have disseminated our mission and disseminated our message to a lot of potential mentees. Again, here's another spread of kind of where all of our different people who have engaged in our programming are in. A majority of them are on the West Coast in California, in the Pacific Northwest, a large proportion in New York, New Jersey, and again, a strong showing in the Midwestern states centered around Chicago, as well as international students. So we're always trying to find new partners into new regions. If you don't see that your region is well represented, we're happy to connect with your students as well. CFAM has grown over the past 4 to 5 years. This year, we were actually lucky enough to promote our first scholarship for students in order to cover transportation costs, lodging expenses, and conference-related expenses. And so it was in honor of Mr. Ramon Niango Ramos by his daughter, Dr. Lee Ramos Plat, to honor her father, who, although he had dreamed of becoming a physician, due to financial constraints, he was never able to achieve that dream. And so she's paying it forward to our students as well, in memory of her father. Similar to some of our other colleagues, we have a lot of online education and programming. If you find our social media at the CFAM.org or at our website, cyfam.com. We hold a lot of online education. The community engagement team was very active presenting Kumusta Kusina in order to combat the high rates of cardiovascular disease amongst Filipinos and Filipino immigrants in the United States. So holding special heart healthy nutrition. Some of the recipes featured included, I believe, it was oats caldo, an oat-based arroz caldo, so a little bit more fiber, as well as a vegetarian tortang talong as well. As many of you know, vaccine misinformation is very rampant in the United States and many parts of the world. And so we also held a vaccine education event with the Council of Young Filipinx Americans in Medicine, the Filipino Nurses Association of America, as well as the National Council of Asian Pacific Islander Physicians. Another online education and programming that we promote is called the CFAM Evening Report, similar to the clinical morning rounds or morning report, in which a case admitted overnight in the hospital is presented to the physicians in training or residents and fellows in the room. We do a CFAM evening report online via Zoom, featuring a case, but always including in that case things relevant to cultural care for and language concordance for Filipino elders as well. So, for example, some of the things they teach in CFAM Evening Report is learning the differences of, say, a patient with diabetes goes home to the Philippines, comes back to the United States, and then perhaps many of their medications have changed either due to access, lack of access, or just in a difficulty navigating the US healthcare system. And so we provide our hashtag Tagalog Tuesdays, where we have information about medical Tagalog and other ways to better serve the community. Our community outreach organization has also been very active. If any of you are in the New York City area, upcoming organized in conjunction with the Association of Filipino Scientists in America, as well as the local Asian Serving Community Health Center in New York. They will be having a free resource and screening fair at the Apicha Jackson Heights Clinic in Queens. And so there'll be both cultural performances as well as blood pressure screenings, blood sugar screenings, and education on stroke and exercise. In addition to a lot of the programming that we do for educate both the students and the community, some of our faculty, including Dr. Iko Razon, are also working on ways to create structured evaluations to show oftentimes to our medical institutions why cultural tailoring and why having culturally concordant care team members, improves health outcomes. So he came up with SINABE, the Shared Instrument to Assess Bayanihan Efficacy. So it's an acronym showing that not only oftentimes in the United States, we use measures of individual efficacy, but Dr. Rason was really interested in finding measures of community efficacy, collective efficacy, belief that groups can achieve goals in order to prepare heart-healthy Filipino meals, and we're changing attitudes at the community level and not just at the individual level. And then some testimonials from some of our students. This is Jacob Less, who started out as a undergraduate student on the research team and is now in his second year of school at Midwestern University, Arizona. For the fifth year anniversary spotlight, he noted, ever since joining CFAM, I've felt both revitalized in my sense of identity and self, but also energized and fulfilled to serve my community. In my 4 years of history with CFAM, I've gone from a general member and mentee to a committee chair and conference coordinator. While I've grown and discovered new skills as a leader, I appreciate that I still get to benefit as a mentee from an incredibly giving community. So don't just take it from me, take it from our students. If you're interested in getting involved, feel free to scan the QR codes, find our membership directory, fill out our membership form. You can find our website at thecfam.org, on Instagram and Facebook. And again, maraming salamat po. I'm happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Palma. So, I just like have a personal plug. In one way or another, I'm connected to all speakers. I'm part of the GradMap faculty network, and then I like to show you something. This was I don't know if you can see it. So this was a post with Pinoy scientist that features me
This is the Tumblr thing.
2012. So the Tumblr time. So you don't have any white hair. And if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Melissa Palma, you're the daughter of Dr. Gia Rason Palma. Am I right?
Opo.
I met her during the UP Triple A alumni homecoming in New Jersey. I think 2 years ago when I was one of the recipient of the UP, and I have a personal talk with her. So it was nice meeting you now personally because she always plug in her Facebook, oh, my daughter is doing this stuff, and now I realize, oh, she maybe this is the doctor that she's referring to. So now we go to question and answer portion. Okay, so I really expect Dr. Serapika to ask the first question. Okay, Al.
Thank you. I'm
You
always the
can ask the
mole,
question now, Al.
always the mole in the audience. Thank you very much, guys, for presenting this. I've been at a loss, actually, honestly, in terms of my role in PAASE, having been chairman and president 7 years ago. How else I can add value to our membership? And now I'm active in the National Academy of Science. We just organized also the Balik Scientist Association, which is an 800-strong Balik scientist over the last 12 years that I've been back in the Philippines. I was in the US for 25 years and I retired at 45. Yeah. Definitely, I've been going around the regions as well for NAST, looking at the new industries of additive manufacturing like GOBETs, electric vehicles, AI, of course. And I run a foundation, which I interacted briefly for Reina, for Pinoy scientists when they needed a larger Zoom capacity, I think, if I remember correctly. Now, the challenge for me now is really how do I get you guys to engage with the groups that I engage with now? These are 70-something Filipino scientists, which are national scientists, and which is, I'm trying to establish that within the PAASE because PAASE's overlap with NAST is very high. But you guys represent one generation below and even earlier pre-scientific area. I'm on the K-12 promotion for STEM here, and I'm also helping TESDA for workforce development. So now, actually, with you guys, it completes my whole picture of the STEM, which makes me feel like I'm not alone also and trying to take it all. Buti na lang nandiyan kayo talaga for the grad students wanting to go to America and want to experience Max. I went through that in the early 80s, early 90s, late 80s. And of course, for the medical association, I had a medical device product, Melissa, so I interacted with a lot of doctors. Unfortunately, none of them were Filipinos. I would have wanted to. But one of my closest association with the Filipino doctors, Ramon Bustillo, who is a very prominent orthopedic surgeon who actually brought home his technology for medical implants in the Philippines. He was a co-inductee in 2020 at NAST, and he just died. He's 94, but he had left a legacy of probably thousands of Filipino orthopedic surgeons that know him. So I think the whole aspect to me is how do we it's almost like a PAAS is a convener now, what I've seen with this conference, a convener not only of scientists, but of organizations that have something to do with science and technology and medicine. So I think with that being an initiative already that undertaken by Marge, how do you think can you interact with us in the Philippines? May it be in a organizational capacity. I can update you on our quarterly or regional, where I can make you kind of describe what you did, Lisa and Max. Of course, I can also get you into the schedule of the UST secretary as well as all the undersecretaries and the relevant institutions of CHED as well, because we know all the leaders, except that, again, you have to go down below to the next level that actually would find value to what you do. And to me, is there a plan in terms of engaging? I know Reina has her foothold in the Philippines, and it's really a bring back those people abroad to have a home when they come here. We want to make the same way for you guys here. Definitely, I just heard of Masa with, of course, Billy Cabello is a very active PAS members as well. That they had a big gathering in Las Vegas recently, I think. So we're very involved with UP Manila, definitely. So anything that we can go both ways, guys. I mean, I know your needs in a way, but I want you to be able to tell your stories and broadcast it, not only within the scientific community, but later down the road with the foundations. I work with Unilab Foundation now. I'm part of the League of Corporate Foundations. So that's another area probably for us to interact on. I'll identify who are the similar motivated. Reina, we had the Shell Foundations also being active and looking at you early on. But I think it's this kind of organization engagement kind of. And of course, if you're leaving, definitely hand it off to somebody. For me, I'm so happy that PAAS is actually in good hands with Marge and Elmer and the next generation actually doing it. Definitely looking at how to build up the group in Balik Scientists too. Actually, you're also feeders to Balik Scientists. But at the same time, I don't want you to be roaming around and looking for things to do when there's exactly myriad of problems that can be solved directly by what you do. So those are the kinds of minimize the, for lack of a better word, the friction or the startup uploading or down what do you call this onboarding whenever you have particular plans. So I think that's where probably I can already see Pinoy Scientists and GradMap interacting very well in terms of my K-12 advocacy also is a system, Center for Integrated STEM Education. I can promote more STEM educations, but definitely having a recipient of the scholarships of DOST, 5,000 strong max, the DOST scholars for SEI. Those are all candidates for you to apply for graduate school as well. And so we need those mentorships. So again, we might be able to talk about grants for GradMap to mentor DOST scholars as I think same thing for you, Reina, in that sense, because SEI needs to guide all those. And of course, medicine is a completely different grouping, Melissa. And I would like to tap you in also once there's a perfect gathering. We're talking about omics technologies, rollout translation in the National Academy now, but we need the younger scientists to actually roll it out, implement it, and kind of maybe that's where we can tap you in terms of new technologies that we think. I mean, one example is hypertension. 3%, 1 out of 3 prescriptions only work. ACE inhibitors, beta blockers, calcium inhibitors. They only work with 1/3 of the Filipino if you don't match it genomically. So if we do a genomic surveillance using the RT-PCR, can we do a better rate of reducing death due to high blood and cardiac disease? So that kind of gives you a flavor what's happening in the Philippines. But definitely, I'm really excited. Of course, it would have been nice for me to be there in person in Paase, but definitely just let you know that Paase is both US and Philippines. So you see your US counterparts there, but do make an effort to see us here whenever we cannot go there. Fortunately, I was just in the West Coast last week, but I had to go back for a NAST meeting. So I can only choose one. Last year, I chose Paase. I skipped NAST. Now I have to say yes to that. But definitely, guys, keep it up. Very, very encouraged. But let us know how we can help you. And definitely welcome your ideas right now. Because NAST, Paase, Balik Scientist, DOST, CHED, those are all the players in terms of, besides the universities that are locally producing our
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Al. Now, we Dr. Billy Cabellon, if you have any question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. So I finally see the gem that Gia Palma is has been talking about. CPAM have had the opportunity to be a judge of the research papers that the medical students themselves. It was amazing as to how sophisticated they really are. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. And of course, I see Dr. Reyes and Sir Dr. Aguilia. You also are stars in this system. The question I have is that I think we have, I don't know how many million Filipinos we have in the United States. And somehow the demographics is that we have less applicants to medical school. And it is amazing that it is Philippine X. Philippine X yan, ha? Hindi kakaya namin na Y, that are taking the leadership in trying to entice Filipinos, I believe, into medicine. So in your experience so far with CPAM, how do you create the environment so that, hindi naman tayo lahat doktor, hindi naman tayo lahat PhD na Pilipino dito. Meron tayo mga caregivers, mga ganyan, teachers, hotel workers, and lo and behold, some of our Navy enlisted men, because I was in the Army, become doctors at the Uniformed Services University. So that my question simply is, how has CPAM influenced the Filipino community to be, as an entirety, to get involved in higher pursuits like medicine and, of course, chemistry, physics, and everything? Would you give us your perspective?
Yeah, so I think, to your point, there are about 3.5 million to 4 million Filipinos in the United States. And as we know, 20%, about 1 in 5 US nurses trained abroad in the United States come from the Philippines. So Filipinos are all over healthcare. There was a study by the Harvard Asian Policy Institute maybe about 10 years ago that actually found that second generation Phil-Ams who were born here, actually have about 10% lower undergraduate education completion rate than their parents. So they call it Filipino downward mobility, which is often opposite to most other Asian immigrant groups in the United States. They're especially those from, from East Asia, South Asia, they were recruited as professionals. Filipinos often post 1965 immigration reform were recruited as professionals, but somehow Filipino students were not achieving education at the same rates as their parents. If you ask my parents, sometimes they'll say this generation is lazy. If you ask those of us who grew up here, we'll often tell you that there's a lot of narrative building for how people are tracked in the US based on how you appear. In medical school evaluations, a lot of Asian medical students get labeled as too quiet when we're actually trying to be respectful because that's how we were raised. And they might get lower marks on their evaluations. And so part of what we teach not only is, the trying to engage people about science, medicine, public health about Filipino populations to make the science applicable to their lives, but also to teach the hidden curriculum about what happens in medicine, right? Every profession has a hidden curriculum. This is how you get ahead. This is how you are, perceived based on who's in power. And so we try to make CFAM one because most of our engagement outside of the national conference in person is either through our online webinars or social media. We try to make ourselves accessible to our students, right? Most of the founders of CFAM were millennials, but most of our students are Gen X. And even with just, that 5-10 year difference, there's differences in communication as well as kind of values and preferences. And so a lot of times when we're trying to engage our students, we let the students take the lead. What I have an idea as, an early career assistant professor may not be what a high school or undergraduate student trying to find their way through medicine, life, career is looking for. And so I think that's one of the strengths is I showed the physician leads and some of the medical student leads, but actually majority of our leadership are the students that we serve themselves. So, we have maybe a 10, 15 member physician board, but we have over 50 students who are involved in leadership in the organization. And I think that is really what makes our content and our programming relevant to them. Because while we, again, highlighting the near peer mentorship model, we're able to give that next step to help you feel that next step because the path through medicine is so long. But also, having it in a place that accepts people. We still keep it fun, like we still have a karaoke Discord. They still meet for boba, right? We incorporate the social aspect so that people aren't afraid to approach us the way maybe they might be afraid to approach, a professor at their school.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Melissa.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
very
much,
much.
Dr. Palma. Now, there's a question in the chat coming from Dr. Nakario. Okay, I'm trying to, this is refers to the grad map. Okay, so the question is being asked, have you contacted some of the offices in your recruitment of this particular pass? And maybe Dr. Gladys can clarify that.
Some of the
Ma'am
offices from
Gladys,
the universities, right? Is that
from the
the question?
universities, yeah.
Yeah, and apologies again for the audio because yeah, it's quite spotty. I don't know. Hopefully, it's a little bit better now. Yeah, so we did. I think that, and that's why that was one of the few last points that I ended with in the presentation. That a lot of our contacts in the Philippines were actually alumni from their institutions. Basically, like when we have mentors. And for example, like their undergraduate institution is not necessarily or not plugged into the system very well. So what they do is actually they connect with their local with their alma maters, and that's how the word spreads. And also because of that, so we started advertising a lot of the workshops and a lot of the basically like the free workshops and intro to grad map to those universities. But because it relies on our mentorship network, which is not small, but it's also still not, very, it doesn't cover, a lot of the, universities in the Philippines. I think that's something that, going back to Dr. Sarafica's point, that I think there is an opportunity to really spread the word out, especially to universities where usually they're not, as plugged into the system as the other universities. I think that is something where we can coordinate, very heavily with folks in the Philippines to advertise GradMap. I think even with our, social media platform, I mean, the reach, is actually quite amazing. But still, I think we want it to be accessible to all undergraduate students interested in STEM, and I think it's a lot easier now that it's virtual, and I think maybe that's something like even just like GradMap can prepare like a small blurb that can be sent to a lot of folks in the Philippines. But we are trying our best, but that we're really reliant on our mentors in the our mentor network, not necessarily in the Philippines, but also that's another thing too. That's another point is that we have several members of our leadership and also a lot of our mentors who are in the Philippines as well, so they can serve. I think they can serve as a liaison with the folks in the Philippines and folks outside of the Philippines to sort of like really just tighten the synergy and the connection.
Okay, thank you very much, Max. So we reserve the last question from our PAASE president, Ma'am Gladys.
No, actually, this just congratulations to the three of you, and thank you for sharing this. The purpose of this plenary session really is to, inspire all our younger generations, and that we have all these platforms that they can avail of. That the older generation weren't able to. We didn't have that. So that's why we wanted you guys to really share what you've been doing. And in addition to what Dr. Nakario asked, maybe it's a good idea to contact universities, the graduate school of the SUCs, because most of them already have this mentorship program, but sometimes they have since you can give webinars about your initiatives, and so that we can have more Filipino scientists aspiring scientists to avail of GradMap, and then yung CY Farm, and then also Pinoy scientists. But Pinoy scientists is way ahead of the two of you, so I'm challenging both both of you, Max and Lisa. So maybe you can plug more. And then of course, so we here at PAASE would like to will always be your collaborator. So that's the main reason why we had this plenary session. So I was hoping really we have all the grad fellows here para lang to spread out, to spread all those about your organization. So that was the original plan. And hopefully we can do this if, I hope hindi po kayo magsawa. We plan to do this every year para it will be the next generation naman who haven't heard about you guys. I keep telling all my students to avail of the GradMap, because right now the problem is, even here in the Institute of Chemistry, for the first time, nobody got accepted in grad school. Lahat na nag-apply po in the US, wala. Nobody got accepted because of the situation. So maybe we should not just focus in North America. We could really help them also apply in other, in Europe, Australia, and other countries, because of unfortunately the situation in the US. And that's why they're here. They're still here with us. They were really hoping they could get accepted. So perhaps not just during APAMS, you can do this another time this year, last quarter, maybe we can have another session. And for Reina, maybe you can do it face to face. And then also, no, in UPLB and other SUCs, we can do just what our grad school does. May caravan din po sila. They do caravan. They showcase the programs that we cater here in UPLB. Then perhaps kung may time, Reina, because you're under DOST now, you can join DOST SEI as well. And then perhaps yun sa GradMap, there are mentors from the Philippines, right, for GradMap. So we can do that, because unfortunately madami pa rin walang alam about your programs. Again, congratulations and thank you. We hope to collaborate with you, not just during APAMS, but throughout the year, and more future scientists will become successful. Maraming salamat po.
Okay, now it's time to award the certificate for our speakers. So, paki-flash na lang po yung certificate.
Feb. Mabilis si Feb.
So this certificate of appreciation is awarded to Max Argilia, PhD, in grateful acknowledgement for imparting your valuable knowledge and insights as a plenary speaker in the 2025 annual PAASE meeting and symposium with the theme Shaping the Future Research Discoveries and Innovations in Science and Engineering, held July 15 to 16, 2025 via Zoom platform. Signed, Gladys Cherisa Completo, PhD, PAASE President, and Maria Margaret Opeña, PhD, PAASE Vice President, and PAASE President-elect. Okay, so thank you very much, Dr. Marks.
Thank you. Thank you.
And the same certificate of appreciation is awarded to Reina Bel Reyes, PhD, in grateful acknowledgement for imparting your valuable knowledge and insight as a plenary speaker in the 2025 APAMS with the theme Shaping the Future Research Discoveries and Innovation in Science Engineering, held July 15 to 16, 2025 via Zoom platform. Signed, Gladys Charis Completo, PAASE President, and Maria Margaret Opeña, PAASE Vice President, and PAASE Incoming President. Okay, and last, thank you very much, Reina. And last certificate of appreciation is awarded to Melissa Palma, MD, in grateful acknowledgement for imparting your valuable knowledge and insights as a plenary speaker in the 2025 annual PAASE meeting and symposium with the theme Shaping the Future Research Discoveries and Innovation in Science and Engineering, held July 15 to 16, 2025 via Zoom platform. Signed, Gladys Charis Completo, PhD, PAASE President, and Maria Margaret Opeña, PAASE Vice President and PAASE President-elect for the next 2 years. Okay, again, thank you very much. So to the three of you, maraming salamat. Thank you for imparting your experience, knowledge, and passion in mentoring. So before we go, I think we will have what do you call this? Photo ops before we proceed with the pie chart. So Peb, I would like to request everyone to turn on their camera for our photo op. So Peb, pakitanggal kami sa spotlight.
Naka-gallery po kayo sa akin.
Baka we can have one with just us po muna. Ay, then po.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah, this is it. Hi, Reina. I already signed. I sent you an email.
Yay! Thank you, Doc.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
happy.
Pasensya na.
Made my day.
1, 2, 3.
Ayan, good to see everyone.
Smile.
Hi, wow. So people, hello.
Page 2 po. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Page 3. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Page 4 po. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay na po.
Oh, dami natin. May 66 na tayo.
Okay, so March.
Right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Melissa, Reina, Max. Nice to meet you, Max. I've
Thank
heard
you.
so
Nice
much
to
about
meet
you.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Yeah.
Bad.
Okay, so we are now ready for the rapid fire. And unfortunately, we went over because we had a lot of things going on. We have our judges we have 3 judges that we're gonna be asking the questions. Dr. Zenia Tigno, Dr. Isa Yu, and Dr. Aris Obando. But some of them have to go for a meeting, so now we have also substitutes who will be taking over. We have Dr. Leah Tolosa Croucher, and somebody else is going to come up and be a judge. Dr. Edsel Pena can come in as a judge as well. So we'll all be judging here. The current judges have already prejudged the written portions of these of the rapid fire competition. So the last part of the judging will be the presentations. So that's a percentage of that. Okay. So here we go. This will be what we call as the rapid fire competition. Our finalists are the following, and you will speak in the following order. We will start with Mark Alan Perez from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, followed by Cherry May V. Jimena, also from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, Ernel Sumayaw from Biliran Province State University, University of San Carlos, Emerose R. Grimaldo from the University of Santo Tomas, Maria Kristen A. Hausian, I hope I'm saying that correctly, from De La Salle University, Alexandra Gonzalez from the Philippine Textile Research Institute, DOST, Luigi Villalobos from Batangas State University, Paul K.U. from De La Salle University, Mary Ann Cielo V. de Lucio San Diego from University of the Philippines, Los Baños, and I think she is at the NC State doing her internship, North Carolina State University. And then finally, we will have Sergi S. Garbanzos from De La Salle University. So, contestants, these are the order that you will come in. And you know that at the end of this, there will be prizes given out to the winners. The first place will get 7,500 pesos. Second will be 5,000 pesos. Third will be 3,500. And all the other runner-ups will get 2,000 pesos each. So we did this to encourage a lot of encourage participation, and that's how it's going to be. So do we have our judges here now and the substitute judges? So it'll be a 3-minute presentation followed by 2-minute Q&A by the judges, and they will be timing this. All right, so I guess we can start now.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible po?
Yes po.
Okay, so good morning. I can start now. So good day. I'm Mark Alan Alperes. So I'm a graduate research scholar from IRI and PLB, and our project, Decoding Fungal Attack Harnessing AI and Bioinformatics to Unveil Rhizoctonia solanae AG1IA Effectors, shows how we can leverage computational tools to solve one of Rhizo's most pressing disease challenges, which is heat blight. So heat blight, caused by Rhizoctonia solanae, can cause up to 50% yield loss. And despite screening over 30,000 lines and varieties, no reliable resistant rice varieties available for cultivation. Oh, I'm sorry. How can I explain? Um,
Please try now to share your screen.
Sorry. Um,
Okay, if you could see it.
is it visible now?
Okay na.
Is it visible po? I'm sorry. Nakikita na po. Is it the presentation is available? The poster?
End of slide. So I think you clicked
Oh,
one too many
Yeah,
returns.
Excuse me, Marge.
Yeah.
Maybe Feb can do the PowerPoint presentation for everyone's. Will that be
Yes, I
possible?
just asked her to do that. Feb, can you just do it? Yeah, ask her to do it so that people will not have a hard time.
Okay.
Right,
Will
and
do
maybe we
po.
should reset the alarm.
Reset his time. Okay, but Feb just flash their slides so that they don't have to do it.
Will download it po.
Okay.
Okay, shall we start again? Maybe.
Yeah,
Feb?
let's start.
All right. Okay.
thank
Hindi
you
ko
so
pa
much.
po na-download. Doc.
Okay.
Okay, start please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So, again, fish blight is one of the rising seas, and it is caused by red Rhizoctomus solani and can cause up to 50% yield loss. And despite that, um, we have already screened over 30,000 rice lines and varieties. There's still no reliable resistant variety for cultivation. So one of the reasons is that the pathogen's complexity and elusive infection strategy. Our goal is to unveil its secret weapon, or should I say, the weapon secreted, which we call effectors. So these are small secreted proteins that can manipulate both plant immune response. But out of hundreds or maybe thousands of secreted proteins, how do we know which one will we prioritize to study? So this is one or where our AI and bioinformatics integrated approach come in. Our multi-step in silico pipeline began with transcriptomic data from our Solanae LR1 isolate. So we used PHI BLAST for effector homology and Nostradamus to predict nuclear localization signals, and gene expression analysis to spot differentially expressed candidate between resistant and susceptible rice lines. We then used AlphaFold, which is an AI tool for 3D structure prediction, and SMART for functional domain annotation. So from 412 secreted proteins of our Solanae, we narrowed it down to 5 candidate effectors. And our top candidates include a hypothetical protein with internal repeats for broad targeting. So this is one of the advantages of AI integrated approach because we are able to see the structure and hypothesize its putative function even if it's still categorized as hypothetical protein. Another protein is a rare like protein, AD-like protein that may inhibit proteases, a lactase enzyme, possibly degrading plant lignin, a secretory protease suppressing host signaling, and a glycoside hydrolase that may trigger or suppress plant immunity. So their predicted domains and structures are summarized in the samples poster. And this approach shows how AI and bioinformatics can guide effector discovery efficiently and helps researchers to prioritize targets before wet lab validation. But still, we recognize that predictions are only as good as their assumptions. But we know that biological systems are far more complex, and that's why wet lab validation becomes critical. Our study lays the groundwork for targeting functional validation of effectors in our Solanae. And that's all. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. You remained within the time period.
Question.
Yeah.
Is it Q&A now?
Yes.
Are we doing Q&A? Oh, yeah. So which effectors did you pick for the next step in the wet lab?
Out of the 22 effectors that we have deduced based from our pipeline, the integrated bioinformatics pipeline, we have selected 5. We want to prioritize 5 effectors, and as I mentioned, one is the hypothetical protein, which I am more interested in because of its feature with which has a repeats, and some of the effectors, known effectors, do have that feature in that protein. Another protein is the rare lipoprotein A lipoprotein, a lactase enzyme, secretory protease, glycoside hydrolase, and those are the 5s that we wanted to pursue for the next step, which is the wet lab validation.
It's not clear in the poster. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
It's not clear in the conclusion, but okay. Edsel.
Well, so you have a prediction problem here, and you're trying to use artificial intelligence to make predictions. But there is always the possibility of making wrong predictions.
Yes.
So how do you quantify the uncertainty in your
Yes, po.
prediction?
We recognize that limitation for using AI and then even bioinformatics tools, and that's why we wanted to look further into the details. So every tools, it has a e-scores, a they score them differently. So for example, in Agapol, there's a PLDDT and even a alignment errors. So those
Mhm.
are critical for us to consider those candidate proteins. And also, if we have the last tools that we have used is for annotation already. So if we have already annotated those proteins, we have a stronger basis for it to be proceed to the wet lab validation. But of course, we still assume that maybe not the one that we are looking into, but at least we have deduced the candidate proteins for 112 because it's time
Mhm.
consuming and resource consuming if we will validate it one by one.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You have 7 seconds to go. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Feb, can we go to the next one, please? So the next one is Cherry May Jimena. Yeah. You can start.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Cherry Jimena, and I'm pleased to present our study on the effects of buffalo milk oligosaccharides on growth and gut health in an undernourished mouse model. So, we know that undernutrition, especially when it leads to stunting, doesn't just affect height. Actually, it impacts the brain development, school performance, and even future productivity. So here in the Philippines, it is estimated that we lose around 8.1 billion US dollars each year because of stunting. And recent studies are telling us that it's not just about calories or proteins. The gut microbiota plays a huge role in how the body absorbs and uses nutrients. So when the microbiome is out of balance, undernutrition becomes harder to overcome. That's where our study comes in. So we develop a microbiome targeted dietary intervention using buffalo milk whey. So we induce undernutrition in mice by limiting nutrition during lactation and after weaning. Then we humanize their gut microbiota using fecal samples from stunted Filipino infants to better simulate the gut environment of undernourished children. Now, the mice were then given either protein-rich oligosaccharides or the P-ROS and L-ROS, which is a lactose-rich oligosaccharide supplements. And then it also important to note that we started the intervention at as early as 28 days, which is corresponds to 6 months old in human age. And this is within the critical window for nutritional intervention. And then we monitored the body weight and length and then collected fecal samples weekly. And then we analyzed the gut microbes through full-length 16S rRNA gene sequencing. And then what we found out is mice supplemented with PROS showed significantly faster body mass recovery with growth curves comparable to healthy controls. We also found that PROS improved gut microbial diversity, indicating a more rich and even gut microbiome. And then also we found that there is a reduced early overgrowth of proteobacteria and E. coli, which is a common signature of undernutrition. And then there was a selective increase in beneficial microbes, including Bacteroides uniformis, Parabacteroides, and Lactobacillus, suggesting a strong prebiotic effect. And in short, this buffalo milk oligosaccharides, especially pyros, could offer a sustainable way to support recovery from undernutrition, since this whey is considered a dairy byproduct and often produced in large quantities and discarded. So this also opens the door for waste to nutrition solutions that are locally relevant. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you for staying within time. So we can start the Q&A. Can I start off by asking how close is the mouse model, your undernourished mouse model? How valid is that to represent a human model, so to speak, of undernutrition?
So for the mouse model, we use the C57BL mice, and then we induce the by the limit we use intermittent lactation and limited the dietary intake or the caloric intake by 70%, which aligns with the with the literature. So, and we also we have seen the body mass index, the weight and all is very is lower, significantly lower compared to the mouse that is fed with normal diet po.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I
When you
think the
say
question,
buffalo, do you mean Carabao?
Yes po.
Okay.
I think
That's
the earlier question was basically asking the results that you obtain. Could you translate that to humans, for instance?
Has that model been validated, in fact? I mean,
Yeah.
that it mimics the human condition?
I think although this study is could be a baseline to actually use this supplement in humans. First, aside from inducing the undernutrition that is normally limited food supply, which could result to undernutrition, like in human, we also tried to humanize the gut microbiota of the mouse model. However, for future works, we would want to validate or determine the efficiency of the fecal microbiota transfer. So that's one of our future works. But yeah, okay. So,
Thank you.
Thank you. We have 11 seconds for the next question.
Why didn't you just go directly to testing malnourished children?
Sorry, Leah. Time is up. Can we allow her to answer? That's Edsel?
Yeah. So you're muted. You're muted.
She's muted already.
sorry. Although I'm not part of the conception of this at the beginning of the project, I think there's an ethical consideration since this supplement is part of the project. They formulated the supplement first. So I think there should be ethical consideration in giving that directly to human without determining the possible effect. And also it's important baseline to really study the molecular mechanism first before giving it to children.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. The next one is Ernil Sumayaw.
Yes, good day. I am Arnold D. Sumayaw from Bulacan Province State University, and I am pleased to present our study entitled WaveQuest, a game-based application in mastering electromagnetic waves concept for secondary students. Biliran Island, located in eastern Visayas, Philippines, is one of the smallest and newest provinces in the Philippines. Despite its size and remote geography, Biliran has a growing emphasis on education and innovation, particularly in improving STEM learning among its youth. However, like many rural areas, it faces challenges such as limited access to digital learning resources and engagement tools in science education. These realities highlight the need for context-based, innovative, and accessible teaching strategies. In this light, our study was conducted in one of the secondary schools in Biliran, where we observed that only 63.81% of grade 10 students demonstrated mastery in the competency compare the relative wavelengths of different electromagnetic waves, making it as a least learned competency in the K-12 science curriculum. To bridge this gap, we developed WaveQuest, an offline puzzle word game application designed to enhance the understanding of electromagnetic waves among secondary students. Grounded in constructivist and experiential learning theories, the game promotes active participation and
Sorry.
transform
Yeah. No,
abstract
you still have 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
Abstract concepts into engaging learner-centered experiences. We follow the descriptive developmental and quasi-experimental research design using the ADDIE model. 5 expert evaluators rated the game as very satisfactory across content, instructional, and technical quality. The game was then revised based on their feedback. For effectiveness, we administered a 15-item pre-test and post-test to 30 graded students. Result showed an increase in the mean score from 9.77 to 12.03, and a paired sample t-test confirmed a statistically significant improvement indicating a positive learning impact. In conclusion, WaveQuest is a validated, accessible, and effective game-based tool that addresses local educational challenges. It exemplifies how innovation can thrive even in remote settings like Biliran, and how technology can support meaningful learning in science. We recommend its continued use and further development for other complex science topics. And that would be all. And thank you for listening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. The
So,
floor is
how
now
many,
open for
how many
questions.
subjects did you have? How many students did you have?
For this study, we have only one class, which composed of 30 students, grade
30
10.
students. And
Yes.
did you split them into the ones using the game based one in a control?
Actually, we don't have any control group or where you have the experimental and what we call the
Yeah.
control group, because we identified that based on the assessment given earlier first, those only students failed that particular assessment are the respondents or the participants of the study. Automatically, they were given the intervention.
Yeah, but there could be biases. If you are using your control group as a previous group, there could be many biases that could enter that the comparison might not be valid. So,
Okay.
so maybe in the future, what you need to do is to actually have two groups where you randomize subjects into the two groups, and then you could make real comparisons. Of course, there's other issues,
Yes.
but I think it's a great idea to have a game-based
Okay.
approach for this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Edsel.
We have time for one more question. So did this video game include a lot of graphics,
Yes,
dynamic?
yes, ma'am, because actually the first game that we have, there's no such thing as abstract or there's no such thing as graphics or images. But after the first evaluations of the evaluators, their comment or one of their suggestion is to add more graphics, because we know that the participants or the students are more engaging on more graphics, images, or abstract more.
Did you try role-playing games?
As of this time, not yet, ma'am. We just focus on the game application.
Right, because most video games actually involve a lot of physics,
Yeah.
shooting people or, trajectories, etc. So I thought that maybe that was part of the game design. Did you have a game design consultant?
There is no such thing as a game design consultant. However, the Department of Education in the Philippines, they were able to train some teachers that would be part of the evaluation committee if you are going to develop an instructional materials in terms of technical design. So they have already identified that one.
Very good. Thank you. This is very interesting.
You're welcome po, and thank you so much.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Sumael.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Good day. I am Emerose R. Grimaldo, and I will be presenting our research paper entitled Live Experiences, Commitment, and Challenges of Certified Immunizing Pharmacists in the Philippines. So, immunization was once limited to doctors and nurses, but the Philippine Pharmacy Act of 2016 and the Immunizing Pharmacy Certification Program have enabled pharmacists to become certified immunizing pharmacists. However, there's a limited research on their actual experiences, commitment, and challenges. This study aims to fill that gap by identifying their personal and professional experiences, level of commitment, and key challenges. So a mixed method design was used, combining semi-structured interviews to explore lived experiences and challenges with Likert scale survey to assess their level of commitment. Using snowball sampling, 20 CIPs across the Philippines participated in this study. Data and statistical analysis were conducted using MaxQDA, Microsoft Excel, and SPSS. From the key findings, CIPs described their role as a form of service expansion. They gained clinical confidence, built patient trust, and took charge of cold chain management, screening, education, and documentation. Commitment levels were consistently high. Using the self-determination theory, we found that autonomy, competence, and relatedness were strong motivating factors. Both intrinsic and extrinsic motivation drove their involvement. All average commitment scores were significantly above the midpoint of 2.5, with values ranging from 3.52 to 3.721. However, they still face notable challenges like lack of unified national guidelines, logistical barriers, vaccine hesitancy, and limited real-world training opportunities. These reflect gaps not just in the policy but also in the infrastructure and professional support. With these, CIPs are essential for public health. While their commitment is evident, they cannot reach their full potential without clear policies, increased authority, and better training. By addressing these gaps, we can empower pharmacists to take on a stronger role in increasing vaccine coverage and strengthening public health in the Philippines. That concludes our presentation. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much, and congratulations for being thoughtful of the community. My question is, maybe Edsel will have something similar. Your sampling design for your interviews, how you selected the pharmacies, did you use, what kind of sampling did you said it was nationwide?
Yes, po, ma'am. It was the CIPs were selected based from the snowball sampling since the PPHA, the Philippine Pharmacists Association, cannot provide the data for the CIPs. Due to data privacy, we opted to use the snowball sampling. We started from our professors who are also CIP, and then through referral, we were connected to other CIPs across the Philippines from different regions like Caraga and Region 1 and NC1.
Thank you. Any other questions? Leah, I think you're muted.
Yeah, so I think this is a great project because even here in the United States, we've started using pharmacies for vaccinations.
Yes.
And in the current situation, I think we're getting less vaccinations. So something like this would be very useful also in the United States, this kind of study.
Thank you po.
Did you see any in the literature? Did you see any studies similar to what you've done here in the US?
No po, because most of the literatures po focuses on the effects of pharmacist-led immunization, but they didn't focus on the live experiences, the commitment levels, and the challenges they face when vaccinating patients.
Oh, that's very good then.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was really very socially relevant, I would say.
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you po.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um,
Hello.
yeah,
Can I
now
can
you
I
can start.
can I
Yeah.
be allowed to present my PowerPoint po?
It's already on screen on the yeah.
I mean my ano po, from my end po.
I think she has slides, not just the posters, what you're saying.
Oh,
If
I
that's okay
see.
po. If that's okay po.
Okay, tell me when you are ready to start then.
I can't share the ano po. I'm not allowed pa.
Would you?
Your co-host na.
Ah, thank you. Can you see the slides po?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, wait lang po. Okay, starting. So, hello everyone. As we face a climate critical future, concrete science is shifting toward a data driven era, powered by AI, sustainability, and smarter formulations. I'm Maria Christine, a graduate student from De La Salle University, and together with my advisor, Doc Mike, we present our study using explainable AI or XAI to understand the performance drivers in geopolymers. So, today, cement accounts for nearly 8% of global CO2 emissions, making construction a prime decarbonization target. Geopolymers are promising low carbon alternatives, but their optimal mix design remains elusive as properties are complicated by chemistry, curing methods, and proportions, making trial and error experiments too slow and traditional empirical models too limited. Machine learning can predict these models much faster and with greater accuracy, but these AI models are often black boxes, offering little insight into the property and parameter relationships which engineers need to fully understand material performance for reliable and safe design. So our solution is a layered XAI approach, which you see here is applied to a multi-output random forest model predicting three key properties such as strength, slump, and embodied carbon. Our approach goes beyond typical XAI integration by showing not only which inputs matter overall, but also how the model's logic shifts locally. So it starts with SHAP, a widely used XAI tool to give us a high level view of the most influential inputs, but beyond the global perspective. We use the trap signatures in clustering data points to understand how the model behaves for mixes that result in high, mid, or low outputs. And then within these clusters, we use a thermodynamics inspired tool called TERP to deploy and isolate the minimal set of drivers that affect predictions locally for each type. And then finally, we use PDPs to extract design relevant information via response curves for specific thresholds of these cluster inputs. And then finally, from this, three key contributions emerge. So first, we uncover the model's learning insights and identifying inputs that are most important both globally and specific mix types. Second, we establish clear testable thresholds and trade-offs between the three output properties, which engineers can directly validate against the domain. And then we flag the inputs with unusual response to easily identify areas for improving both new formulations and the model itself. So, in conclusion, by structuring multiple XAI tools, opaque prediction models can be both highly accurate and, more importantly, transparent. shaping a more accessible and reliable AI-enabled mix design to accompany us in our steps towards developing high-performance geopolymers and truly sustainable concrete. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Why did you use random forests? Why not say neural nets or deep learning algorithms? What was the
Thank
main
you.
motivation for
Thank you, sir.
using?
So initially, we characterized our built database and we found out that it's highly correlated po. And so we started to look for models that best fit this type of design problem first. So random forest is a non-parametric model compared to neural networks and the other types. But we are also trying to use the other models po to because the XAI framework is also applicable to the other optics po. Incidentally, the random forest is actually the fastest one we trained so far po.
I see, I see. Yeah, just a correction. Neural nets are also technically non-parametric models. And
Yes, thanks, sir.
they all have
Thank you.
parameters, but okay, yeah.
I find it harder
But
to
what happens
to
if you
tune.
simply use simple regression,
Yeah.
multiple regression?
Yes, sir. So for geopolymers, the input parameters actually are um, more diverse and compared to ordinary cement, and these inputs are not yet well established. So the more inputs are considered, the linear capacity of um, these regression models tend to um, uh, become exponential. So it's hard to model using those models for the sir.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you po.
First of
Thank
all,
you.
I'd like to thank you for the format of your poster. Because when I look at the
thank you.
poster, I look at the conclusion first. And I'm glad that you actually started with the conclusion. So more or
you.
less, this is actually what is more what is this? If you're looking at this poster, let's say in person, the first thing you do actually is look at the conclusion, di ba? And then you go back. But so I'm really glad that you came up with this format. I'm always looking for this format when I'm looking at a poster
Thank
because
you.
it's very intuitive for me. Anyway, I don't know about others, but it is intuitive for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Gonzalez, you can start.
Stop.
Good morning po. May I just check if I'm audible?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much. So, good day, everyone. I'm Alexandra Gonzalez from the DOST Philippine Textile Research Institute. And this project that I'll be presenting is part of our Biomedical Textiles R&D program in close collaboration with SEDA Pilipinas. Through this initiative, we partner with sericulture communities in Misamis Oriental, Benguet, and Kalinga, where Bombyx mori silk cocoons are often treated as waste. Now, our aim is to valorize these byproducts into antimicrobial sutures, sustainable, tunable, high-value materials for wound care. We adopted a dual fabrication strategy. First, conventional silk sutures were produced by reeling and processing filaments into 21, 48, and 60 denier yarns, then softened, thrown, or braided to match the USP suture sizes 7/0 to 4/0. Second, we extracted regenerated silk fibroin from the degummed cocoons using a modified Ajisawa method, then blended it with polylactic acid and electrospun it into nanofiber composites at different silk to polylactic acid ratios. Now, all suture variants are being prepared for surface functionalization using Crescentia cujete leaf extract and biogenic silver nanoparticles to impart antimicrobial properties. So far, we've observed the following. So the microscopy and tensile strength analysis confirmed increasing yarn thickness with denier, with the 60 denier 4-ply silk suture yarn showed the highest diameter and strength, while the 48 denier silk achieved the best elongation at nearly 28%. While the FTIR and UVV analysis validated the presence of key functional groups in silk fibroin and plant extracts, while the XRD results confirmed the predominance of silk 2 beta sheet structure, which is associated with excellent strength and biocompatibility. Please note that this research is ongoing and the antimicrobial testing and preclinical evaluations, such as in vitro and in vivo assays, are still underway. So this research is part of an active development pipeline aimed at future clinical readiness. So this study highlights the potential of Philippine silk cocoons, once discarded byproducts, to become biocompatible, high-performance, and antimicrobial sutures. It is more than just a material innovation. It empowers local silk-producing communities and contributes to affordable, green, and accessible wound care solutions for real-world needs. And this is just the beginning. With the right support, we can bring Philippine-grown world-class biomaterials into every wound care kit. Again, I'm Alexandra Gonzalez. Thank you very much, and I look forward for your questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what is up to what scale can you produce your up to what scale can you produce your sutures from the fibers?
Okay, so
Is it like
our
kilograms?
yeah, so for the conventional suture po, we can produce I believe similar production scale with our silk yarn production, since we are incorporating the traditional suture yarn production method. So around 5 kilograms per day. While for the electrospun sutures, so this is an ongoing research under the program. So we focus more on producing small scale tunable sutures for that, since the electrospinning machine that we have right now is just lab scale. So we are still working on improving our electrospun suture production. But for the conventional po, we are using the reeling and throwing method, which we are already using, which is a technology that we are already using in our SEDA Pilipinas program. So yeah, we can work on a bigger scale po.
Oh, that's good. So before you actually go worldwide, sa Pilipinas muna. So
Yes po.
you probably have to calculate how much production you need for that. So good, thanks.
Are the sutures resorbable?
So the conventional ones are not po, since it's silk, purely silk, but the electrospun silk polylactic acid sutures, we are expecting it to be resorbable po. So that is the reason why we are tuning the ratios of polylactic acid and silk to adjust its resorbability po.
Maybe Dr. Cabellion would have a question. Billy? Even
Natulog na. I do have another question. Why are you using herbal extracts? I mean, it doesn't, if you're going to manufacture something, herbal extracts are not really, I mean, it's very difficult to do good manufacturing practices with herbal extracts. So why not use small molecule drugs instead?
Okay, so the Crescentia cohete extract po that we use in the project is used so for proof of concept, and then also as a precursor po or reducing agent to produce our silver nanoparticles. So we are in partnership with surgeons po from UP Manila, and they are more interested in silver nanoparticle coated sutures, especially for the tunable sutures po, which is one of the reasons why we explored the, I think I got, I'm, oh my,
It's fine.
nawala
Finish
po ako.
your answer.
Oh no, nawala ako.
You froze.
That's okay.
That's okay. Okay. Maybe we can proceed with the next one. Mr. Villalobos.
Hello po, am I audible po?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, you are. You can start.
Thank you po. Hello, APAMS 2025. I am Luigi Villalobos, and on behalf of Ms. Najin Arabel Rula and Dr. J.B. Sacco, I am going to present our study titled Annotations on Selected Seaweeds in Batangas, Occidental Mindoro, and Marinduque provinces, including 2 possible new records in the Philippines. You can find over 1,000 seaweed taxa in the Philippines. In the Verde Island Passage alone, there are 116 recorded seaweed species. However, based on our recent assessments and a lack of literatures, those numbers might be an underestimate. That is why this study aimed to describe the gross morphology of representative seaweeds to determine their taxonomic identities, which will contribute to our understanding of the rich biodiversity of this region and its conservation and management. Majority of the samples were herbarium specimens in the Batangas State University VIP Corals collection, while the rest were fresh samples. With a total of 15 samples, they were taken from Batangas, Occidental Mindoro, and Marinduque provinces, and were assessed through stereo microscopy and light microscopy. This study is the first to record the Caulerpa manorensis and Penicillus capitatus, not only in the biodiverse Verde Island Passage, but also in the Philippines. On the other hand, this study is also the first to record Cystocera trinodis, Centroceros minutum, Jageropsis strami, Rhodymenia divaricata, and Gatilupia felicina in the VIP, increasing the record of seaweeds in this area up to 128. Other seaweed species determined in this study are Monostroma nitidum, which is the first to record in Batangas province, and Baloniopsis pachinema, which is a new record in Occidental Mindoro, while the rest are 2 Padina species, 3 Sargassum species, and Asparagopsis taxiformis in its tetrasporphyte stage. Given these discoveries on the new records in the Philippines, as well as in the provinces in the VIP, and overall, the ecological and economical importance of seaweeds, the conservation and sustainable resource management in this region should be prioritized. Moreover, we recommend the molecular analysis of the seaweeds to confirm their taxonomic identity. So we would like to thank our institution, the Batangas State University. We would also like to thank the Analytical Research Center of the Batangas State University and the University of the Philippines Marine Science Institute. That would be all. Thank you po.
Thank you. We can start the Q&A. So I just want to congratulate you and say thank you for highlighting the diversity of our marine life and contributing to its to the flora and fauna of the Philippines and everything. So just wondering if the seaweeds are intended to be in the future medicinal or more for nutritional value
So
as far as you're concerned.
Yes, ma'am, and not only for these medicinal and nutraceutical products, but it can be all these seaweeds can also be applied as food and consumed as food, and could be used to mitigate the carbon emission to lessen the effect of the global warming. Other seaweed species can also be used as feeds of sea cucumbers and other domesticated animals po.
Thank you.
Can they also absorb toxins and like heavy metals and things like that
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
ocean?
Actually, yes po. Several species of Padaina are known as bioaccumulators of heavy metals like cadmium and iron po.
This might be a stupid question on my part because I'm not in this area. What's the maximum or upper limit to the number of seaweed species? Do you know? Is it 1,000, 10,000, or something like?
Based on the recent inventory po here in the Philippines, there are over 1,000. I think 1,065 seaweed taxa to be
I see, I
exact po.
see. And with climate change, as time passes by, is the number of species increasing or decreasing?
It depends on your seaweed species
Definition.
because some species of seaweeds can tolerate high temperatures or even high irradiance.
I see, I see.
Yes, so the trend for other seaweeds might come down
Mhm.
on the other
I
hand.
see, I see. That's a good point. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you po.
Who do you plan to collaborate with? Because when you say molecular testing, I'm thinking DNA, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Genomic. Maybe Michael Purganan can help you out. But we also have a genomic center at UP Diliman, so maybe, although I think they
Yes,
are
ma'am.
understaffed.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
what do you plan? How do you plan to do that?
we actually tapped Dr. Wilfred John Santianes for the molecular analysis for the confirmation of Caulerpa manorensis.
Just the one?
Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately, we do not have that much sample for the other species.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
po.
Thank you.
Thank you po.
Mr. Yu.
Yep. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll start. In recent years, life expectancy has steadily increased worldwide. But is a longer life truly worthwhile if it is spent with a debilitating disease like dementia? So in this study, we focused on Alzheimer's disease, the most common cause of dementia. It is a progressive condition, meaning that once it starts, it continues to damage brain cells over time. Sadly, there's still no cure for it. In 2021, Alzheimer ranked as the fourth leading cause of death in men and third in women, highlighting its immense impact on public health. On the left side of the poster is a figure from Nature Reviews paper showing APP and tau proteins, the pathological hallmarks of Alzheimer's disease, linked to the insulin signaling pathway. So indeed, researchers have noticed a growing connection between AD and T2D. Studies have shown that people with T2D are at a higher risk of developing Alzheimer. One possible explanation is insulin resistance. So our study uses a systems biology approach to explore this connection. Shown in the center of the poster, we built a mathematical model of the insulin signaling pathway that extends an existing framework for type 2 diabetes from Niemann et al. At Linköping University in Sweden, which are shown in black. And we incorporated components known to be involved in Alzheimer's disease, which are experimentally validated by another study by Talbot et al. From UPenn, which are those in blue. So by simulating this model, as shown on the right side of the poster, we found that key components in the pathway shared between diabetes and Alzheimer show similar dynamic behavior. So only two are shown here due to space limitation. This suggests that insulin resistance may be a common driver of both conditions. So these results highlight the value of looking at diseases not in isolation, but as a part of a larger network. With further refinement and larger data sets, our model could help identify potential drug targets or strategies for preventing Alzheimer in patients with diabetes. So in conclusion, our study provides computational evidence supporting insulin resistance as a biological link between type 2 diabetes and Alzheimer's disease. And it opens the door to new possibilities for understanding and treating both diseases. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. The floor is now open for questions.
Yeah, you take the lead on this.
Okay, so I was just wondering why you selected insulin resistance as a possible cross mechanism when in most chronic diseases we think of inflammation, which is even more basic than just insulin resistance. And since you are using the systems biology approach, were there not other nodes that you could have used in linking these two?
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. Well, actually, yes. Actually, in recent research, inflammation is also like part of the pathophysiology mechanism of Alzheimer. But in this study, we focus on insulin resistance because actually Alzheimer is also called like a type 3 diabetes. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. So it's like they're trying, like several studies have been trying to link these two diseases. And that's a very interesting actually point there that we can look into. And what's nice about systems biology is, for example, we have inflammatory pathway or any other pathway that may be linked to Alzheimer. So we can just combine these components like a Lego block, so to create a more complex network of ODE models. Yeah, but
Yeah,
thank you.
because as a physiologist, I'm always interested in the molecular and underpinnings of the disease, but not only that, across the life course. So at particular points in time, especially for women, where it occurs during reproductive cycle transitions. So you cannot remove those kinds of influences when you talk about the natural history of a disease. Dr.
Oh, yeah.
Cabillion, you put on your camera.
So how did you validate the mathematical model that you have?
Okay, so since we have the previous model already, the type 2 diabetes, those in black. So these are actually models already validated, and they have experiments to back them up. So we also use the same technique, the same training, like the same methods that they used. And then those in blue, we added. So these are also experimentally validated. Actually, the paper is by Talbot et al. From UPenn. So like Conrad Talbot is a pathologist. So he collected from like a deceased Alzheimer patients and controls. So these are experimentally validated basically, and we try to combine them into like a bigger, like a more complex model, basically.
But there's a famous statistician, George Sparks, who said that all models are wrong. Some are useful. So maybe my question is, how sensitive are the results to possible misspecified models in this case? Because
Oh yeah, thank you very much.
we could never be certain that the model is actually correct. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So actually, we haven't done the sensitivity analysis. That would be a future direction. Yeah, that's a very interesting proposition. And another thing that we're considering here is that since the sample size are very few, like it's in the 20s, and we have like 40 components here in the metabolic pathway, right? So we need at least like 400 sample size, to have a valid, statistically valid,
maybe more,
or more, maybe more. Yeah.
So for training your AI is, I don't think, large enough, even with the 400. I think you need a lot more than that, if I may say.
Yes.
That is very interesting.
So that is part of our limitation and future direction. Hopefully, once we get funding or we get, I don't know, like collaborators working on experiments to have more sample size, basically. Yeah, that's the limitation of systems biology as of the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we go to the next one. Miss Relucia San Diego.
Hi po. Before I start, could I just correct po yung affiliation ko kanina? UP Diliman po ako, hindi po UPLB. Yun lang naman. It's okay. Okay lang po. Baka lang. So, let's start. Good day, everyone. Sorry, I don't have a video. Yeah, there we go. Good day, everyone. Wastewater contains a lot of pollutants, with some considered emerging contaminants or those that lack regulation or monitoring. One example is phenolic compounds, which can cause adverse health effects on wildlife and humans. In the Philippines, some were detected in environmental waters brought about by the disposal of untreated or poorly treated wastewater. While traditional physicochemical treatment methods, they tend to be expensive. This is why we explored a more cost-effective, which is bioaugmentation, or the use of microorganisms to enhance pollutant removal. We isolated a Candida strain, which will be referred to as H105, from a domestic wastewater treatment plant in the Philippines. After determining its initial phenol degrading abilities and antimicrobial resistance, we brought it to the North Carolina State University to assess its potential as a bioaugmentation agent. First, we studied its microbial kinetics with regards to phenol utilization using the Haldane model by measuring biomass and phenol removal across 8 different phenol levels. The results showed that H105 had a maximum specific growth rate that is higher than most of the reported Candida strains in the literature. This tells us that we have a promising candidate for bioaugmentation. To further examine its abilities, we tested H105 in sequential batch reactors using real wastewater. At 150 milligrams per liter of phenol, H105 completely removed phenol within 6 hours, with statistically significant degradation rates at the 4th and 5th hour compared to the control. At a higher dose of 500 milligrams per liter of phenol, H105 removed an average of 94% in 2 days, while the controls were at 27%. These were also statistically significant. Overall, this showed that H105 bioaugmentation works in real-life conditions. Our next steps are to test its performance at even higher concentration and even explore co-culturing it with other degraders for enhanced performance. We would also utilize 16S and ITS metabar coding to determine its effects on other microorganisms needed for wastewater treatment. In conclusion, our research demonstrates that the use of Candida strain H105 can be a viable, low-cost strategy to enhance phenol removal in wastewater treatment systems. Thank you.
Thank you. The floor is open for questions.
Can you tell me what happens to the phenol when it is metabolized? What is it converted to?
Well, we don't have the exact, we are going to, haven't tackled that yet in our study, but as we have seen in our bioreactors, it forms into catechol. And then catechol is then converted by other microorganisms in the system for other friendlier compounds or chemicals. So that's what we're seeing in our bioreactors.
How did you measure the phenol?
We use a modified Folin-Trochalto assay. So this method was developed by one of the laboratories in UP Diliman, which is also included in our project. So it was first developed for polyphenols in food. Then it was adapted to detect phenol so that we could use it as a cost-efficient method of detecting phenol instead of HPLC or LCMS.
Yeah, but what is the sensitivity of that assay? Because I would think the concentration of polyphenols in food is high, but the concentration of phenol in water is very low, probably in ppm or even
Yes, actually, the polyphenol detection using the Foley Chocality is at very low levels. Also, I mean, what I mean is we are diluting our phenol to about 1/6 to detect its limits. So we have a standard curve for the different concentrations. Then we dilute. We are testing at 150 and 500. We are diluting 1 to 6 phenol in water, and 1 to the 9th. So that is how we calculate our phenol
What's the
concentration in the
what
standard
is
curve.
the concentration? What is the actual concentration in molarity or parts per million or parts per thousand or grams per liter or milligrams? What?
So our standard curve is up to 5 millimolar, or I think that is about let me compute. That is about at 470 milligrams per liter. So for the 500, we have to dilute it a little so that it would fit on the standard curve.
Okay. And what's the concentration in water that you are getting?
The concentrations we are getting is around 0 sometimes. It's in
Okay.
the 5, yeah, it degrades everything. Sometimes it
No,
after 24
initially,
hours.
before degradation, what do you start with? What concentration of phenol do you start with before degradation by the?
So in these studies, we have two. We have 150 first because we want to test it first because that's the first time we are testing it in real wastewater. So we started small. Then we go to 500 milligrams per liter. So after 48 hours, some of the systems are 0. Some of the systems are at 5 milligrams per liter. And sometimes it has 14. But due to the stochasticity of the bioreactors and wastewater, it tends to be different every time, but within that range still.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The last one is Mr. Garbanzos.
Good day to all. May I ask if I could share my own slides because I have also prepared. Thank you. Okay, could I start now?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so good day to everyone. I am Sergi Garbanzos from De La Salle University, Manila, and I'm here today to present our poster entitled Water Quality Assessment of Bangon River During Dry and Wet Weather. So here's a screenshot of our submitted poster, and I will be summarizing it in the following slides. So it's already understood that water quality is a big problem, especially if this is to be distributed in freshwater streams. So this is much more related to the riverside, but there's also a significant difference between the comparison of the water quality during dry and wet weather, which could differ in the form of water flows, concentration of pollutants, and even sediment loads. One additional factor to consider would be the rainfall, as this could also add some additional risk due to diffuse pollution and additional continuous loads from point sources. And it's also very important to understand diffuse pollution if one is to implement nature-based solutions in an area. So currently, our team is the Rains STEC project. It is a DOST-funded project, and its aim is to pioneer these nature-based solutions in the area. So the team would like to focus on diffuse pollution first before we can design and optimize the solutions in a given area. It is also not yet very implemented in the Philippine context and policy, so we would like to research it. And the objectives of the study are as follows: to analyze stream contaminants during dry and wet weather, assess the relationship of water quality trends corresponding to its location on the stream, and determine the relationship between parameters in both weather conditions using Pearson's correlation. So here's our materials and methods. Firstly, for our selected site, it's in Bangon River in Palo Leyte. It's on the eastern side of the Philippines, where grab sampling or manual sampling was conducted in 6 sampling sites, as shown here on the right, where much of the concern is already seen in the midstream to the downstream area. There's already the proliferation of macrophytes and occasional algal blooms. Some additional parameters for testing are enumerated here, as well as wet monitoring, which was conducted on 6 different rainfall events. Now for the results, firstly, here's the upstream to downstream and dry and wet weather analysis. This one shows the box plot of each of these different sites. This is scaled up to the river. Due to comparing the dry and wet weather, and this is for the pH. This is the DNR standards, and this is the Spearman correlation from the correlating the distance of the site from the actual value in the given site. So firstly, for the pH, it remained consistent for both dry and wet weather, with some outliers, and it's closer to less than 7 for the pH. For the temperature, much higher in the dry weather and lower in the wet weather. For the total dissolved solids, salinity, and also the electric conductivity, there is currently no standard for it in the Dow 2016, although some of these tended to increase exponentially as it reached the downstream area, some of them 7 times the acceptable value. And lastly, for the dissolved oxygen, if the limit is 5, most of the values have shown that the values are lower than 5, indicating that it could be at risk for the ecosystem in the area. Lastly, for the statistical analysis, for the correlation of parameters, there's a stronger correlation of the parameters during dry weather compared to wet weather. And looking at it here in the Pearson correlation, some parameters exhibited negative correlations in the wet weather, but positive in the dry weather. So this is important for the optimization of the design. So these are the conclusions: concentration on the downstream areas, possibly lesser due to diffusion, and become weaker in wetter conditions. And thank you for your time. Please like and share our page.
Thank you.
Thank you. So in the beginning, you mentioned that
Yes.
you used Spearman correlation, and then you also used Pearson correlation.
Yes.
Why did you do that? What was
Yes.
your motivation there?
So firstly, for the Spearman correlation, what we are trying to correlate here was the distance of the stream and the value that we have for the parameter. So this is pretty much the correlation between the two. If there is, let's say, a linear regression that could be formed here, if it really increases from the upstream to the downstream. Pearson correlation, on the other hand, we would like to correlate the different contaminants with one another, because of course there are some chemical aspects where they could, let's say, reactions that could form in the process. And we would like to take a look at that because we are trying to, as mentioned earlier, to create nature-based solutions to apply in the area. So this is like the preliminary or the starting study before we are to do that.
Yeah, because Spearman's correlation, you use it when it's more robust because you're using the rankings instead of the exact values in the while for the person's correlation, you are actually using the exact value. So I was thinking that maybe there was a reason why you had chosen to use both of them in this particular case. But it's okay.
Yes. Yes, I understand. Maybe I'll try to research further on what we can also apply also in the future. Thank you. Thank you for your comment.
So the high pH, would you say that that's because of high organic, decaying organic matter?
From our assessment, yes, because as you can see already from what we have seen on site, there's already some large growth of the water lilies in the area. So maybe it could be attributed to that. But also, we would also like to relate it here because in the midstream area, that's where much of the agricultural area is found on site. So it's starting to urbanize from the midstream to the downstream area. So maybe a lot of them tended to be discharged and conveyed in that area until it reached to the areas where the team has collected some samples for testing. We would like to explore also that further. This is just what we have seen from the testing that we have done in the laboratories.
What do you intend? I mean, in the long term, what are your goals? Is it, like to control water? What is this? Maybe you have contaminations from toilets and things like that going into the water. What is the long-term goal? Do you educate the population by the river, or what is your plan?
So currently for our project, our focus is not more on the point source. So it's not really from the toilet, from the sewage. It's more of the non-point source aspect. So more on the diffuse pollution. Some of these could, of course, come from, let's say, the car wash, from the additional sediments that we have on the roads. All of these could be conveyed to the stream. We would like to treat them first. So when it goes to the river in itself, it would be treated. So that's why we want to apply the nature-based solutions. And also from another, to just relate it to another project that we have recently proposed, we are also trying to propose a water quality index here in the Philippines. So maybe this could help us. Currently, that is a research gap that we have here in the country. So maybe something, yes, just the initial assessment. What are the other parameters that we would like to discover? What are the pollutants, and what are the solutions we can think of based on our collected data? Because there is no real-time monitoring yet applied in the site.
Very good. Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Elsa.
And that concludes our posters. Thank you, everybody. That was really spectacular, and I appreciate hearing from all of you. My fellow judges, would you like to say something?
Yeah, thank you. Very nice. I think the future is good with all these young people.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say that the quality of the work is very admirable. I think that for students that are so young to be able to present in this way in front of so many people, being asked questions. I don't think I could do that when I was their age.
Me too.
So congratulations.
A big applause to the students and all of their mentors for guiding them so that they could participate in here. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do now is the judges are gonna go into their little private space and calculate the scores so that we can come up with the winners. But while they're doing that, we are gonna go into breakout sessions for our parallel sessions. And I know that we are running late. So yeah, last night we gave them unlimited time. I don't think we have the pleasure of doing that, but we can do something creative. And Fab, listen to what I've got to say. So we're going to our breakout sessions, and then sometime around noon, we can go out to the main room and listen to the results of these the competition, so we can congratulate the winners. And then you can go back to your room and breakout room and finish the rest of the session. So I think the announcement will take no more than 5 to 10 minutes. And then you can go back and finish the session and take the rest of the afternoon to finish your session, so that all of those who prepared for the parallel session will be able to present the science, the wonderful science that they have to share for us. So I think at this point, our technical assistants, Feb and Richmond, are going to assign all the parallel session speakers to the respective parallel sessions. So the breakout rooms will be named according to your parallel session. And then sometime at noon, let's all come back and convene here so that we can listen to the awarding. And then you can go back after the awarding, you can go back to your parallel sessions and finish. Okay? And then we can also give the closing remarks before we go back so that you can continue the wonderful discussions like we did yesterday. So how about that, Feb? I think the breakout rooms, we have 5 breakout rooms now. So I guess you can go join your breakout rooms, and Feb and Richmond will assign those who are in parallel sessions to go into their specific parallel session. I know I have to be moderating a parallel session, so I'll be sent to a breakout room just like the rest of you.
About the
Okay, so
judges, Marge.
How about the judges? How do
About
they?
the judges, where do we
create a
go?
breakout Fab, can we create a breakout room for the judges that only they can go to, nobody else can go in? So if that's possible, we can do that.
Parang di na siya, Doc, ma-edit. I cannot add another breakout room po.
Oh, you cannot add another breakout room?
While nag-open na po ako ng 5. Ongoing na po
Oh.
pati yung 5.
Oh.
So how do we do this for the judges?
Can we
Mario
stay in the
prepared a
main
sort
room?
of a spreadsheet where the other
There is a
judges.
spreadsheet that Aris sent. Are you guys?
Mario sent it, and the three of us had originally put in our comments already, except for the presentation and the Q&A.
I was
So
Okay, can I
monitoring.
forward to all three of you the Aris had encoded it. He sent it to me and Mario, so can I send it to all three of you by email? I'll just
Yes.
forward Aris's email to the three of you. Okay. I shall do that right
Okay.
now.
And then how do we reassemble, March?
Pwede ba kayo magstay sa main room?
We can stay here, pero
Yeah,
baka
just stay
may
in the
ibang
main
tao.
room. But the other people don't, we'll just get, Fab, can you control people not to go into the main room while the judges are discussing?
Ilalagay ko na lang po sila sa other breakout rooms.
Because there are 31 participants right now in this room.
Yeah. It's Leah, Xenia. Okay, so I'm forwarding you what Ari said, and he has the
I
link
have
to
it
the.
actually, except for the last two columns for
Yeah, so I think he
Aris
did the
and
last
Isa.
columns.
Right.
Yeah, I think he has those two.
Right.
So there's Xenia, Aris, and then you, and then I guess you guys can add on to it.
Right. Isa, you, Roberto, and I can see Aris until row 6.
Yeah.
And Isa, she had no presentation communication.
Yeah, wala
So
siyang
they are
communication.
missing here.
Okay, so what parallel session am I in? I have to go. I'm 2.2.
I was put in a breakout room.
Did you?
So I went back. The main.
Yeah. So far, madami
have
pang
6.
ibang tao ata dito eh. Nandito.
8. Oh, 7. 7.
7. Huwag ka muna umalis, March. Baka kami malito.
Kasi kailangan ko mag-moderate eh. Okay, so we're back to the main room for now so that we can participate in the awarding. Leah, are you done with the discussion?
Yeah. I think
Okay.
Xenia will announce the winners. We have right there.
Okay. So let's ask Feb to bring everybody back, and then we'll send them back to their rooms. Okay.
Manual lang po, Doc, yung pagbabalik. Wait lang po.
Hindi ba automatic?
Hindi po siya
Tulad
automatic.
kagabi na lahat tayo nasa ano.
Manual lang po yung pagbalik at yung pagbalik mismo sa breakout room. Wait lang po.
Okay.
I guess we were cut off and put in the main room, Marge.
Oh yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
listen to the results of the judging, then we'll go back to our session. Sorry.
Yeah, we were almost done, so we're just spent probably like wrap up and then Q&A. So
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well,
not a big deal.
Madali lang to.
sandali lang.
Oo. You ready? Sinya?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Zinnia?
ready, but there seem to be some people who are still coming in. So, okay, my name is Senya Tigno. I am from the National Institutes of Health and part of this year's organizer for the APAMS. And I'm very happy to be announcing the winners for our rapid fire competition. For us, can we have the next slide, please, Feb? So I also want to thank my fellow judges who were here with me tonight and my other fellow judges who did some of the scoring previous to being here with us tonight. And I'd like to just announce first our runner-ups and to say that we are all very much impressed by the work that has been presented to us tonight. It was really kind of mind-blowing how professional and very competent our young scientists are. So our runners-up are the following people. And then we have, next slide, please, Feb. Tying for the second and third place, meaning to say that they got the same scores, were Maria Christine Haushan and Paul Yu. So congratulations to both of you. So the prizes for the second and third place will have to be combined and split evenly between the two of you, Marge. And
Yes.
of course, the big event, the top of the pile, so to speak, for our first place winner for the poster presentation is none other than, ta-da! Next slide, please. Alexandra Gonzalez. Congratulations to you. And thank you very much for your very, very wonderful presentation, your responses to the judges, and the science that went into organizing and making the poster presentations was really quite impressive. We only hope that you would have been that you were able to join us and that you will be able to come to South Carolina, but I guess it's too late at this point, right, March?
Yes.
So maybe next time we can
Can
hope to
we,
see you here. Thank
Okay.
is she
you.
here? Can we just show her?
Yeah.
Where's
Andyan ba siya? Si
Alessandra?
Alexandra, are
Alexandra?
you around? Can you turn on your camera so we can see you?
Oh, there she is. Ano- Alessandra?
Alessandra, would you like to say something?
Few
You
words?
are the top prize winner. You are muted at the moment and your camera is off. She is in the room, but she hasn't put on her camera.
Yan siya.
Ayan. Alessandra, oh, there she is.
Yeah, sorry po. I got disconnected a while ago, so I have to change to my phone.
Okay,
Oh, I
spotlight.
see. So
There you go.
congratulations.
Thank you so much po.
Congratulations. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you get the top prize.
Thank
Nasaan
you
yung
so much
ating,
po.
where's the
Blow out
other
ka daw.
second and
Second and
yung
third
nakatie?
prize
Second and
who are
third?
tied.
Where are you guys? Open your camera so we can see you. There we go.
Thank you po for this.
Yes.
Ms. Shan
Congratulations.
and Mr. Yu.
And Paul,
Congratulations.
you, or is Paul?
Where's Paul Yu?
Is Paul here?
Wala na po. Wala din po siya sa breakout.
Na Alzheimer's.
Okay. Yeah, okay. All
Baka
right, well,
ginutom na because it's
congratulations.
lunchtime over there.
Yeah,
Okay.
congratulations to all the winners.
Congratulations.
And now let's go back
Congratulations.
to our breakout rooms so that we can finish our sessions.
Okay.
Thank you
Good night
guys.
from us here.
Yeah. Good night
Bye-bye.
from everybody. So let's finish our sessions. And all I want to say as a closing remark so we don't have to come back here is that thank you very much for participating in APAMS 2025, the virtual portion of the program. We actually received over 100 abstracts, which was pretty amazing. And so, and those abstracts included not just one author, but many authors. And so it was very amazing to see that response from everybody. It's always scary when you organize a meeting and nobody pays attention, but really a lot of people submitted abstracts that made this event really very successful and interesting for everybody to participate in. Also, we were able to get some really good keynote speakers and plenary speakers and that share their opinions and share their insights based on our theme, which is shaping the future. All of you are shaping the future, and we thank you for your participation in that. And also, the second part will start on Friday evening with the mixer at the University of South Carolina, which unfortunately you're not going to be there. But the next day on Saturday, we're going to open the sessions there with a virtual keynote address from Nobel laureate 2023 Nobel laureate Kathleen Carico. She is the lady, one of those who invented the mRNA vaccines that really saved millions of lives around the world. So your registration for these virtual part of the symposium will also allow you to attend that session. So the opening session will take place at 8 a.m. in Columbus, South Carolina, which will be 8 p.m. for you on Saturday. So wala kayong pasok, punta kayo you can attend this session. And let's welcome Kathleen Carico to the PAASE and listen to her experience on developing the mRNA vaccine and most importantly, her journey to science. Because it was not a resounding success in the beginning, but it takes a lot of resilience to really stick with what you believe in and become successful. And in the end, she not only saved millions of lives together with her collaborators, they also ended up winning the Nobel Prize for that effort. So I hope you're all invited to attend, and we would love to see you all in there. This is why we made it a virtual event. So it's a rare opportunity that we can get someone with that caliber to give a presentation to us, and she gratefully agrees. And right here we have Eric Verano, actually, who is PS 2.1 moderator. He was the key person who really persisted in inviting Dr. Carico. We had hoped that she could come in person, but she had some medical problems with her foot, so she's actually addressing us straight from her home. So we will hope to see you then. And I think if you want to stay up late all night, you can probably attend the sessions that we have. We're all putting it on Zoom. We're also recording them. So hopefully, we have a very exciting program. If you look at the program that we have, it's a mix of all the best of PAASE and the upcoming and the future of PAASE. So this is what we're trying to do, is to bridge PAASE into the future, so we know that the impact of what we're doing is going to shape what is to come in the future. So again, I want to thank you very much before we leave, because some of you might leave the program. And so it's time for us to go back now to our parallel sessions and finish up. Still have one talk for our parallel session. So let's go back and finish the parallel session. And thank you again. Okay, thank you very much for your participation. And good morning, good night. Gutom na siguro kayo for lunch, but